Live betting reaction to all of the night's action. You're tuned in to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Patrick Meagher, Dustin Swedelson, VSiN Live.
All right, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio, as we say hi. Steve Torrey with a long weekend as he heads to Fenway. Just heard him talking to, you know what I need from the Torrey family? First off, Steve, you deserve it. I mean, you've gone through a lot. Take a long weekend. But what I need from the Torrey family at Fenway is I need fight videos on social. Like, don't just walk into Fenway and not defend your turf, which is Yankee Stadium, Steve Torrey. So let's go. Get in there, mix it up, take some of that frustration over the past couple of weeks out on some Red Sox fans. All right, that's Steve Torrey, of course. Great job as we say hi. Welcome you in. I'm Patrick Meagher, live from Los Angeles. This is VSiN Live. It's Mad Dog Sports Radio. The big guy, Dustin Swedelson, off a big shift last night, cashing out over on VSiN. Just ask him about it. Of course, our buddy Adam Lockley is back, the GOAT. New York City, Ryan Smith, also GOATed in Vegas, running YouTube, which is at VSiN Live on YouTube. A hell of a show. A ton to do. Okay, we've got the U.S. Open at Oakmont. That course is a freaking beast. I would assume the tournament is going to finish potentially even-ish. We also have, well, we've got a series, and we just bailed on the Thunder a couple of nights ago. Big show announcement, but we bailed on the Thunder, and we've adopted the Pacers, like John freaking Cougar Mellencamp. And I'll tell you what, we've got a series as the Pacers pick up Game 2, and we'll get you the adjusted prices, not just on the series, but look ahead, of course, Friday night, tomorrow night, to Game 4 in Indiana. A lot doing there. Now, on the ice, the Oilers, they're going to have a gut check. And tonight is the night for that gut check because they got punked in Florida a couple of nights ago in Game 3. Remember, Dustin pointed it out, they had an opportunity to go up 2-0, an overtime game with the winner in Game 1 up in Edmonton, the Oilers did, and then a double overtime loser in Game 2. They come back. Momentum is now with Florida. The barn is buzzing. The barn down in Sunrise, Florida was rocking, and the Panthers just came out and kicked their ass. And the Oilers did exactly what you don't want to do, which is to play into this, a bunch of assholes, part of my language, but the Florida Panthers will beat you up. And if you want to play their game, they're going to pummel you to the tune of 6-1. Now, a lot of storylines here because, of course, you got McDavid and Draisaitl. They need to bounce back, so that's one. Can they recover? And then two, who are we going to see in net tonight for the Oilers? I don't believe we have an announcement quite yet. I hated Skinner being pulled during the game. I've talked about it. I think it shows weakness. I don't care what old puckheads say. You got to pull the goal. No, you don't. You're going to lose the game. He's given up some cheapies. Let him stay out there and prove his merit. You don't want to show the other bench, all of a sudden we're starting to get twisted. We're starting to get a little nervous about our goaltenders. Zip it. Leave them out there. Make a decision after the game on who you're going to start between the pipes. And hey, call me. Call Scotty Bowman. We would have told you what to do, Knobloch, you geek. So that's that. We've got a lot to do. Derek Stevens, who is the owner of Circa Sportsbook. He's the owner of a bunch of casinos, the D, down on Fremont Street. He's the owner of Circa Sports, which has now become synonymous with, hey, if you're headed to Las Vegas, you go to Circa. If you want to bet in Las Vegas, you go to Circa. And they've got a bunch of, if you haven't been involved in their football tournaments and contests, I think you're going to want to because it's a lot of fun. You get your boys together, kind of pool up the money if you'd like to, and get involved. So Derek Stevens, proprietor of Circa Casino, is going to join us, hopefully, from Omaha. No shtick. He's going to join us from Omaha. The VSiN crew is down there broadcasting from the College Baseball World Series. So that potentially on the docket. Josh Applebaum's going to join Kelly Bidlin to talk about the U.S. Open. And before I get the big guy in, as he is patiently waiting, what a guy. Spawn is your leader at the U.S. Open. Who? Exactly. Your boy, J.J. Spawn. Now, he is an American. In second is your boy, somebody named Thurston Lawrence. He's from South Africa. 4 under for Spawn, 3 under for Lawrence on a crazy course. Koepka is the name that you would recognize as we get a little bit further down. He shot a 2 under today, which is tremendous. And then as I look for names that matter to you, Cam Young is 1 under. Let me keep going. Jordan Spieth, even on the day, which is kind of a surprise. Captain America Patrick Reed, even on the day. Colin Morikawa, I've got a pretty penny on him to finish top 10. He's 1 over. And I'm looking for Scheffler. Schauffele is 2 over. So that is that. DeChambeau's 3 over. Good. That asshole fell apart. No, pardon my French. He's not a great guy. Also 3 over, coming in at plus 260 on the tournament, is Scotty Scheffler, who has not just won his last 3 tournaments, he's won them by 4 strokes. So he's on a historic heater, and he came into this at plus 260. Let me give you some context on Scheffler at plus 260 at the U.S. Open. That's Tiger Woods betting, people. The second betting favorite was like 7.5 to 1 on DeChambeau, who won last year at the U.S. Open. So you're talking about a guy at plus 260 to beat the field? That's an insane price. And it doesn't look like he's off to a good start. He's on the 17th, and he's 3 over, but he can obviously correct. We know what the USGA likes to do at the U.S. Open. The USGA likes to pummel these golfers. They care more about their course than they do about entertaining golf. The rough, your ball goes into the rough. Here you go. You're not going to get it out. You're certainly not going to score from the rough. And then you drop a little golf ball on the greens. That's for Dustin Swedelson. He's a big golfer. Happy Madison. You drop the golf ball on the green, and you just let it go. And what does it do? It goes rolling about a football field away. And that's the USGA. A bunch of pranksters. Dustin Swedelson is here today. So are you. 888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646. I'm about 48 hours into a fast. Wasn't feeling good. I'm going to do 72 hours most likely. Nothing but water. I'm 48. Tonight I'll be 48 hours in. I'm telling you right now, the mental acuity?
Yeah, it's going well.
The mental clarity is off the charts. If you go ahead and try and keep up today, big guy, over there pummeling sandwiches during the show. I'm going to run circles, so don't even mess with me. Do not trifle with me. 48 hours in.
First of all, it was a rice cake with turkey on it yesterday. It wasn't a sandwich.
I literally don't care.
Secondly, that means we're 12 hours away from you being in a miserable mood. That's a
No. The bad mood is the first day. You've never. Go ahead, give it a try. Show some self-restraint.
Were you just gonna ask me if I've ever done a fast?
But here's what I would say to you: show some restraint, some self-control, some empowerment over yourself. Go 48 hours just drinking water. By the second day, you will have clarity like you're tripping with Aaron Rodgers on ayahuasca. Now, you don't want to be with Aaron, but you're going to have that type of clarity. Hey, am I taking mushrooms or am I just not eating food? That's what's up.
So once you push through that, everything's money. You just got to push through the hard part.
The first day.
Now you don't even care about food. You don't care when you
eat. Food ain't a thing to me, brother. I'm just drinking water right here. I'll just
go get me some Ozempic then. That's a good way to do this.
Yeah, just keep cheating through life. I'm sure we'll never catch up with you. Ozempic. Do yourself a favor. Stop freaking feeding your pie hole. Have a glass of water and go exercise. Jesus, these people looking for excuses. There it is. Justin showing water on YouTube. People, and then listen, I'm not here to disparage anybody that wants to take Ozempic. That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. But Dustin, you certainly don't need it. That's what I would say. All right. Anyway, I set the table. Is there anything that stands out? Basketball, golf, hockey.
Yeah, the Stuart Skinner situation. I'll relate it to the basketball because 2 days ago we declared on this very program we are a Pacers show because of the situation. And then last night, as we were signing off, we wondered. Indiana was down. They were starting to mount a comeback, but they were still losing to the Thunder, and we agreed. Losing is them having Oklahoma City right where they want them. I can make the case that tonight with Stuart Skinner and nobody believing in him, Edmonton plus $1.30, they have got Florida right where they want them. This is what they were supposed to do. And Stuart Skinner is going to start tonight. I don't have confirmation, but I believe he's going to start tonight, and he's going to have an epic performance. That's why I took the money line on the Oilers.
Do we have what is this? Are you just reading this on Twitter? Do we know if Skinner's going to be between?
I don't have news yet. I have it up on right in front of me right now. I searched for everything. I don't see an official word, but here's the stats I'll give you. Stuart Skinner, games 1 through 3 in the playoffs, is 9-18 with an .875 save percentage. Games 4 through 7, he's 17-3, a .922 save percentage, and specifically when it comes to game 4s in the playoffs, Stuart Skinner's 6-0. He's never lost a game 4. 1.26 goals allowed, .955 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. Everyone is writing off the Oilers because of the way things went down in game 3. And I'm telling you, Stuart Skinner has the Panthers where he wants them tonight.
Okay, that's an interesting take, but I like it. You know what? Maybe avoid the food. You'll be that was wild.
Maybe I need to eat something.
But maybe the opposite. Skinner he gave up 3 cheapies.
Oh, I wasn't happy.
Well, I mean, with the blocker. Does he know he has a blocker? Like, what is that?
I think it was less. He knew he had a blocker. It was more he didn't know where he was on the ice. And I think the ice is an issue. I heard a breakdown earlier today on VSiN from a hockey analyst who said it was so humid out last night or last game that it changes that ice down there in Sunrise and makes some situations a little bit difficult for the way Edmonton likes to play wide open. It fits Florida a little bit better, especially because they're used to it. So I'm curious if that is actually playing a role here in the series.
I think Skinner decided to go on a 72-hour fast at the wrong time. No energy, no lift. That Bennett breakaway was an empty netter. I mean, he was just so clueless. So that's that. The basketball. So a great win by Indiana last night. I'll just say this. This is an Indiana show. Everybody knows it. We're all about the Pacers. T.J. McConnell, Obi Toppin, and that bench outscored the Thunder 49-16. That was the difference in the game. Also, the Thunder, they're not going to play that bad moving forward, although a Pacers show. 17 turnovers, sloppy, disjointed, as you said, stale. SGA, 1 field goal in the fourth quarter where they dropped 18, just 3 shots in the fourth. That's not going to happen again. Pacers, 52% from the floor, 13 steals, 11 blocks. They were incredible, and they were buzzing. The energy was awesome last night, Game 3 at the Fieldhouse.
Hey, Rick Carlisle better be careful. If he wins the NBA Finals, the Knicks may request to interview him too for their head coaching job. The Thunder continue to have issues on the road. 0-8 against the spread. We're not going to acknowledge it. 0-8 against the spread now on the road this playoff run for Oklahoma City. I thought Tyrese Halliburton was also amazing. He got aggressive in the second quarter. He got in the paint. He made things happen, dished out 11 dimes. And you mentioned the bench. 49 points versus the Thunder's 18. Benedict Mathurin was your leading scorer in an NBA Finals. He was 140-1 to lead the game in scoring. And then big picture, I look on the other sideline, where I think Carlisle has dialed up everything perfectly. Mark Daigneault has messed things up for the Thunder. He decided by adjusting his starting lineup, which at first I really liked. I was with you on that. But now I realize he adjusted what he was doing in the finals. He's the favorite. He's the 1 seed. He's deciding to play Indiana's game at the high tempo, at the fast pace. And because of that, they've gone away from Hartenstein and they've lost their identity. I think they have to turn back to Hartenstein in the starting lineup, slow things down a little bit in Game 4. And you mentioned SGA 9 of 20 from the field. Let's give some credit to Andrew Nembhard. He was a nuisance to Jalen Brunson in the Eastern Conference Finals. He is doing the same thing to SGA. Nembhard on the defensive end is having a fantastic series.
100%. TJ McConnell was the difference, though. Second quarter, he comes in. He had 5 steals in the game, 3 on inbounds passes, just instant. And that's when everything turned. I thought he was incredible. It was, you know what it was? It was an entertaining basketball game. Can we all admit, those that watched, entertaining basketball game. Obviously, Oklahoma City struggled late, but I enjoyed the basketball game, so hopefully we get another good one on Friday. Now, here's a couple of things. I'll go to the calls early because we've got potentially Derek from Omaha coming up. My favorite thing about sports talk radio, and Dustin has built a career on it. I told you so. When things go well, it's an I told you so. When they don't, let's just push that over here. No need to see anything. No need to look at anything. Now, I bring that up because our first caller, we haven't heard from in a while. And that is Alan White Plains. Oh. But Alan White Plains, the last time we heard from him, he came on talking about you two are idiots. Now, Al has big opinions about the channel, about me and the big guy. You guys are idiots. The Pacers are live in this series. And he was right. He was right. Josh Applebaum said the same thing. There's a couple of people, including Al, including Josh, that said the same thing. The Pacers can win this series. And we just said, hey, your lips to God's ears because this is a Pacer show, brother. Now, the reason I bring him up is because we haven't heard from him, but we are hearing from him today, which is apropos and interesting timing, nonetheless. A little, I told you so, from Al in White Plains. Welcome.
Always great to be aboard, and never would I do that, but I do have to challenge. I did not call you guys idiots. I didn't. There are plenty of people on this station and others that I call idiots. Never would I call you guys idiots.
You deserve credit. Let's start there. You deserve credit. You called and said you guys are crazy. This is going to be a very good series, and Indiana can win it.
Thank you for acknowledging that. I didn't understand, and I still don't, the notion of the bench advantage or the depth advantage to OKC. And I'm not just saying because of last night, but they've got more guys. They went to the finals last year. They lost 2 gut-wrenching games that they gave away to the Celtics, who were the best team in the league, and whoever thought was going to win it again this year. And they got all those guys back, and they have all the experience of last year. What have they done in every close game in this postseason? Milwaukee, Cleveland, the Knicks. Now, they have won every close and late game. They are fresh. They are deep. They execute. Let me give you an example, and this kind of got me last night. They were up 6, and it was getting late. Some teams are going to take it easy. They're going to sit. They're not going to attack. They get the rebound. Siakam is down at the other end of the court. And who's there? SGA's there. They go long to Siakam, and what does he do? He attacks. He attacks the mismatch, and SGA, who was shot, didn't even make an attempt to guard him. Layup, 8, game over. One of the spots with a hideous George Sedano, who likes the sound of his voice even more than I like the sound of it, which is almost hard to believe.
No, a total dog.
What did they say? What did the interview? The plan is rebound and run. They run and they run and they all run. They all run. They have 12. They talk about centers using fouls. They have 12 fouls with Naismith and the aforementioned Nembhard to use on SGA, and they'll use them. They will bang him around. They're not calling the fall down stuff, and he's not playing bad. They're playing tough, and they're the smaller team, and they're playing rough. And Chet the Jet, who I like and was good early, got dismantled late. To Miles' credit, too. He comes out, he defends a 3, blocks it, and then Holmes gets it back, throws him away again. His night was over after that. Their coach is doing a great job. I'm not saying they're going to blow them away in 5. I'm saying we have a series, and these are 2 evenly matched teams, and this notation about the bench of Indiana is deeper and better, period. How that will play out in a championship, I think so. Remains to be seen, but I still don't understand how they're dogs. I don't understand they're that big an underdog. They have been the second best team in the league since January, behind Oklahoma City. Wake up, people. This is a really good team.
Alan White Plains with the mic drop. Your crew run, your crew run. He's right. Indiana wants to run. Kason Wallace starting lineup. Dagnall said, I'll match you. I didn't love it. I've loved the Hartstein minutes when he's in there. Don't go away from what you've been doing. Dagnall, donk, whatever you call yourself. We've got a series, people. let's get to the updated number as far as the series. This may surprise some, including Al, that Oklahoma City is still a pretty sizable favorite in the series itself.
Yeah, the Thunder minus 220, plus 185 on the Pacers. A little bit of movement there. It was plus $1.90 last night, so it just moved 5 there. But still, the Pacers at plus 185, up 2-1 with another home game on the horizon. It does feel like disrespect for the Pacers.
It does. It does. And the price on Friday night, are we up to 5.5, 6-ish? Somewhere there?
It opened 6.
It got that down.
So we were at 5.5 on last game because we bet that. This game opened 6. So the market believed that game 3 was a fluke and that the Thunder will do what they're supposed to do in game 4, cover the 6 on the road. Total did tick down a little bit. We closed around 226. We're at 225.5 this time. A lot of under money before game 3. I like the under in this one.
We've been squawking about how great this Oklahoma City team is. They were 29-1 coming into the NBA Finals against the East. They don't lose back-to-back. They're blowing people out by 20-plus in every game, 68 wins, and on and on and on. So if Al wants to squawk, and Josh and anybody else that thought the Pacers had a shot, you all deserve it because we've got a series, and the Pacers are up 2-1. Look, Oklahoma City has home court. We know exactly what they want. I mean, hypothetically, they want to win both in Indiana, but if they win game 4 on Friday night, they're right back in the driver's seat. So that is very clear. I think you're going to see a concerted effort offensively, show that they can adjust because the ball movement was sticky last night for the Thunder.
Yeah, no, they got away from what
and
they
credit
do.
Indiana, by the way. Their defense was
Absolutely.
great.
The assists weren't there, but if we're going to look back on the Thunder's run, they were in the same spot when it came to the Denver series. They were down 2-1 after 3, and they were on the road for game 4. They won by 5. Then they won game 4. Game 5, they won by 7. Game 6, they lost back in Denver, and then they won game 7 by 32. I don't think there's any fear in that dojo there in Oklahoma City. They're not necessarily shaking in their boots, but if Indiana can somehow win in game 4, I think they'll be put in a position they're not used to being in.
We'll break now. We'll come back. We're going to head out to Rocco's Pizza and Cantina in Omaha, Nebraska with Derek Stevens. I don't think they're fasting there. I think they're fasting on Jell-O shots, okay, as VSiN is broadcasting live from the College Baseball World Series. We're just getting started. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
sweat your bets with VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, Game 4, Stanley Cup Final coming up at the top of the hour. Now, for a Mad Dog Sports Radio audience, I'm excited to have our next two guests because we're going to talk about the best football contest on the planet, bar none. The Circuit Contest Millions, Survivor, and the brand new Grandissimo. We've got the modern king of Las Vegas, Derek Stevens, of course, Circa, the D, and the mayor, Mike Palm. Fellas, Michael, how are you?
Patrick, it's a day only Chuck Gatica could have drawn up here in Omaha. Just perfect Chamber of Commerce weather. These fans are great from all 8 schools, and we're having the time of our life.
Yeah, the crew is down in Omaha. I want to talk about, they're at Rocco's, of course. That is the Pizza and Cantina in Omaha, Nebraska. They fired up the Circa private jet and took the VSiN crew down to Omaha for the College Baseball World Series. Derek, take me behind the scenes. You're motivated to get down to Omaha. I think you went last year. Why'd you take the whole crew this year?
Yeah, we had such a great time last year. We met so many people, and we're all wearing our logos out here in Omaha. It seems like everybody's interested in putting a wager down. So we invited a lot of people back to Circa in the football season time frame and met a lot of people. And one thing led to the next, and we decided to bring the whole crew from Circa out, Circa Sports. So glad to have the whole VSiN crew here, and it's turned into a heck of an opening weekend.
How about how'd you guys end up at Rocco's? We need the backstory here. I think we all kind of know if you see things with social media as it comes to the College World Series and the fan bases, but how did you guys discover Rocco's and what they have going on?
Yeah, so what happened was last year when we came out with our crew, we came out, we wanted to get a couple Jello shots, and as we stopped in, we met the owner's son. The son then texted his father, and he said, hey, those guys from Circa and VSiN are around. We got a text about an hour later, and lo and behold, you wouldn't believe what happened. Kevin, who's the owner, he said he's a massive VSiN fan, massive fan of Mitch and Paul. So we had him out. We had them out in Vegas, and one thing led to the next. The next thing you know, we got a whole crew over here. I didn't know they keep the show on in the bar here year-round, so it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Of course, Mike Palm, Derek Stevens. We'll get to the contest for the Mad Dog Sports Radio audience in just a bit. You mentioned Mitch and Paul. Mike, follow the monies there. So are Stormy and, of course, JVT. Is everybody behaving themselves?
Yeah, I want to know when we're going to start counting these Jello shots for this challenge that they have the odds boards up in. But we all hung out till about 1 a.m. last night, so it was pretty tame. Everybody but Paulie. So we've on it. But we started early today. We had a tour of Omaha Steaks at 8 a.m., so you got to pace yourself. Derek's here till Monday night, for God's sakes.
Now, interesting you bring up the Jello shots because the odds have Derek as the favorite to lead the trip among the crew there with the most Jello shots consumed. Mike, a little disrespected in the market at 125-1. First, the favorite, Derek. Do you feel like you have enough in the tank right now to outlast this crew?
Well, I might be a favorite, just like a Kentucky Derby favorite, but I'm a little bit typecast. I got the body type everybody expects. I'm going to be the ringleader here. But the reality is I think there's a few other people that are doing a pretty good job here that are really putting down the Jello shots at a faster pace than I am, for sure. I would also say that there's value in Mike Palm. At 125-1, Mike, I think you were you were disrespected.
Well, it opened 250. I mean, I was willing to have alcohol poisoning at 250-1. Listen, the reality is that Jensen Lewis should be the favorite. I mean, this is a former pro athlete. He's very sturdy, big base. I think that he should have had a minus price in front of him.
I do see at the bottom the author of the newsletter and the man that calls the Legacy Club his home. Bill A.D. is 15-1, boys. Should we be backing him?
I mean, I think there's a little value on him at 15-1, but I think there's someone else you got to think about. The field's not really fully represented. We got Chris Wilberding. Big Balls is kind of how he's known. He'd have to be up there. He'd have to be up there in the favorite class.
The pride of Michigan State. That's my man. Go ahead, Dustin.
So the Jello Shot Challenge is pretty cool over at Rocco's because it goes to charity, right? They go to food banks where all the different colleges are based, and they feed a lot of people. And it just recently opened. It's a contest. All the schools are competing against each other to see who can order and consume the most Jello shots. Early returns, which school seems to be in the lead? Has anyone challenged LSU right out of the gate?
Well, early returns are that Murray State and Louisville are on the top of the leaderboard, but that's only because Derek bought all the shots in their name, trying to pump up Circus Sports Kentucky. I mean,
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, they broke early. We wanted to post the lead. We bought 50 shots. I'm sorry, 100 shots for Louisville and 100 shots for Murray State. You know, Circus Sports is in Kentucky. That's the only state that we're in out of the 8 teams here. So I wanted to support the Kentucky schools.
Well, Circus Sports, Derek Stevens, and of course the mayor, Mike Palm, joining us here, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. I remember maybe it was 6-7 years ago when Circa was just being built, and you took me over to the property site, and you're like, "This is going to be awesome." It's now become synonymous with if you go to Vegas with your boys or your girls, you go to Circus Sports. It's also become synonymous with if you want to get down, you go to Circus Sports, and it's become synonymous, Derek, with the contests, the Millions, Survivor, and Grandissimo. Let's give an outline to the Mad Dog Sports Radio audience on the 3 contests, and we'll talk about how they can enter.
Yeah, so let's start off with the Circa Million. That's our first contest. That's a traditional football handicapping contest where you select 5 games against a point spread each week. And you know, we pay out the top 100 over the course of the year. We have quarterly prizes. It's a $6 million guarantee, and it's $1,000 to enter. Circus Survivor, that's a contest that started 1 year later. That's another $1,000 to entry contest, and that's where you just pick one game, no point spread. You pick one game each week. You try to make it all the way through the end of the year. What makes it difficult is you can only pick a team once in the course of a season. And then our brand new contest this year is called the Circa Grandissimo. This is $1.5 million guarantee. Same rules as Circus Survivor, but the big difference is the entry fee. The entry fee is $100,000. So we're hoping we find at least 15 people to participate in Circa Grandissimo this year.
Hey, that's no joke. You're going to take the drama that goes into the regular Survivor contest, throw it into the high rollers, where I imagine that's going to get crazy. I think for our Mad Dog audience, with the Millions and the Survivor, Circa Millions, basically, you compete against everyone as a handicapper. But Circa Survivor, that's where the drama lies. Can you paint the picture for everyone that maybe hasn't done a Survivor contest before, what the season is like and how the drama usually unfolds late with so many people in the mix?
yeah, you know, Dustin, we built it from $1 million prize pool to $14.2 million last year. So it's life-changing money for people if you can go 20-0. And really, when you get to week about 8 or week 10, it starts to become a reality that you've got a chance. Now, of course, you can only use the team once, so everybody has their maps. They're trying to plot their way to get to the end. And we've been pretty lucky. Every year there's been between 2 and last year 8 entries that split the money. But now you're creating millionaires. But even the people that get knocked out early, they have the FOMO. They can't wait for the next year to start so they can get back in this contest. It seems so simple, but it's so very difficult.
Well, the amount of people, even from Michigan, Derek and I are both from Michigan, the amount of guys that have told me, and gals, that it's their favorite time of the year, getting their boys, their girls together, pooling up the money, and involving themselves in Millions and Survivor. You mentioned how the money has exponentially grown. Can you guys be honest? Did you ever think a few years in it would be like this?
No, Patrick, I never thought that. You know, it's not lost on me that it was just a few years ago we guaranteed $1.5 million, and we had to take a big gulp to wonder if we were going to cover the guarantee. But it's grown and it's grown. You know, this year, or I should say last year, we guaranteed $10 million. I never would have thought we would have guaranteed $10 million, and we end up at 14.2. This year guaranteeing $15 million, and you know, we're pacing to go over again. So you know, I think maybe the one thing that's really important for people to know on Mad Dog Radio is that you have to register in Las Vegas at one of our casinos, but you can play from anywhere in the country. And I think that's been a key component where you can get a proxy. A proxy can enter your picks for you, and it's just one trip to Vegas, but then you get a full season's worth of a contest, no matter where you live, anywhere in the world.
Yeah,
Don't be intimidated. Just quickly, don't be intimidated if you're not in Nevada because it's easy to get a proxy. We can walk you through the process. Go ahead, big guy.
Yeah, you fly into town to sign up with your proxy, and then all you got to do is pick up the phone, you call them, you make the pick through them, they go do all that work for you, and it works out for everybody. I'm just curious, Derek, as I'm monitoring the Tigers score, Detroit is up 4-0. Tarek Skubal's on the hill. Do you think you can funnel some of the survivor money so that the Tigers can give Skubal a long-term contract?
Please.
Well, we certainly hope so. We had Greg Maddox's charity poker tournament at Circa last weekend, and one of the guests was Scott Boras. So I was fortunate enough to sit at a table. Mike Palm was the tournament director, and somehow he figured out a way that I was sitting at Boris's table, and I had a couple hours of chewing at Scott's ear about why Tarek Skubal is very important to the city of Detroit.
All right, if you have been involved in Survivor locally with your friends, get involved in the best contest there is. Also Survivor, Grandissimo, circusports.com. It's simple. We'll talk about it after we say goodbye to Mike and Derek about how to actually do it. It's very simple to do. Mike, before we say goodbye to you, Skinner looks like he's going to be between the pipes. Are you doing anything with Game 4 in Florida?
I played under 2.5 goals for the Oilers in this game.
Derek, anything on the ice?
I'm following Mike when it comes to pucks.
Once the Red Wings are bounced, Stevens and I we're just out. Boys, good luck with the contest. It's great, obviously, charity with the Jello shots as well. And VSiN and the whole crew are going to be in Omaha broadcasting live. Derek Stevens and, of course, Mike Palm, Circa Sports. Thanks, guys. Appreciate a few minutes from you.
Thanks, Patrick. Thanks, Dustin.
Okay, be safe over there, boys. When Circa comes to town, it's just a little bit of a different game. That's what I would say.
Oh, they take the party with them.
They bring the party to Omaha, Nebraska. We should say the contest, and we're not shilling because I have heard from so many people. Again, you go to circusports.com and you sign up. It's life-changing money, and it's the ultimate competition because there are what you consider to be sharp bettors involved in the contest. There are just regular, hey, I like to bet $5 on a game bettors involved in the contest, and those people have won the contest before, by the way. It's one of those things, you could do it by yourself, but if you get a group together and pool up, whether it's $1,000 pooled together with your boys, and then each week you have the discussion leading into the weekend, it's just a hell of a lot of fun, and those contests are amazing.
Yeah, it's even grown to the point where groups of people are getting together now and they're combining for multiple entries because of the strategy that comes into it. If you're live late in the year, because during Thanksgiving, the Thanksgiving games are their own week, so you have to save a lot of those teams. Christmas becomes its own week. The strategy becomes difficult, so the more entries you can have to maneuver, it's becoming a big thing among big groups of friends making their way to Vegas, and while they're there, they sign up for the contest. I'd love to tell you a story about me and Patrick going deep into Survivor, which is the everyman's contest. It's not for the handicappers. It's just you pick a team to win, they advance, and you try to go to the end. Well, Patrick, myself, and Mike Somich combined 2 years ago to the first time to enter the contest, and we lost week 1. So we didn't get to experience the sweat.
Yeah, it wasn't much of a sweat.
It makes you hungry, and then you watch all the other people, because if that pool gets knocked out early, and we were part of a year where there was like a couple upsets in week 1 where we got knocked out, 2 or 3 other big underdogs won outright, and all of a sudden these people realize this ticket that they have on their Survivor contest was worth like $60,000 or something like that very early in the NFL season.
Yeah, and by the way, they usually do a cool documentary around Survivor. So if you go far, you might be able to get famous people.
Well, yeah, they did 2 of them one year. One everyone watched. The other one I was in. Nobody watched.
Yeah, circasports.com, CIRCA sports.com. Even if you're just curious of what the contests are all about, and then you get on the phone with your boys, your girls, and let them know, hey, we got something here. And now the proxy thing's simple. Essentially, they take care of everything, and there's a bunch of different proxies in Vegas that will take care of your placing the bets for you. So you don't have to go back and forth. That's the big key.
No, all you do is pick up the phone, and they know when the deadline is, and you reach out to them before the deadline to get your picks in, and they walk up, they make your picks, and that's it. It's locked in and ready to go.
It really is true, though. It was, I guess, 7 years ago when I had first moved to Vegas. And Fremont Street, the best way to describe Fremont Street is if you've seen Diamonds Are Forever, James Bond. The chase scenes are all through Fremont Street. And that's where, the Rat Pack started. That's where Vegas essentially started. And then Vegas started moving south from Fremont Street, and that became the Strip. The Strip then, as the Sands and all these big casinos started to pop up, everybody started kind of migrating away from Fremont Street, which is downtown Las Vegas, onto the Strip. Then Derek Stevens, years back, bought the D. The D is named after Detroit, and it kind of became a destination. And then there was an empty spot in the desert, and he built what's now called Circa. And it's gorgeous. Like, when I go, I'm lucky enough that VSiN will put me up, and I feel like the rooms, my redneck ass does not belong in those rooms, but it's a great experience with the biggest wall of televisions watching the games that you're ever going to see on the planet.
Biggest sports book in the world. If you're on social media, just search the phrase Stadium Swim to see the pool setup where you can watch games as well. It's unlike anything you've ever seen. It's a party. And Circa is the only spot in Vegas I hang out. And if you're a sports fan, it's built for you because, as you just heard, Derek Stevens, the guy who built it, is a massive sports fan. It was built with the sports book in mind as the focus.
He's from Detroit. He's a Michigan guy. He is obsessed with the Tigers, the Lions, obviously the Pistons, and the rest of the crew, the Red Wings, as you mentioned. Speaking of the hockey, we should discuss it. I went on with Shine earlier on his VSiN show. Of course, Adam Shine here on Mad Dog Sports Radio as well. And I went pretty basic, big guy. I'm going to stay away. I appreciate your plus money play on the Oilers. But we got 3 goals in Game 1 in Period 1. We got 5 goals in Game 2 in Period 1. We got 2 goals in Game 3 in Period 1. And I'm going over the goal and a half in Game 4 to keep it rolling. It's $135-ish, somewhere on there to go over a goal and a half. I don't think they're slowing down. Mike is spading that Oiler offense. I think the questions in net for the Oilers are going to persist, and I think you're going to see a very determined Oiler offense and attack.
Okay, I'm going to do something here, and I'm going to admit I was going to steal something I heard Mike Palm say on the VSiN channel, SiriusXM 158, earlier today. In 4 of the last 5 finals games between the Oilers and Panthers down in Florida, where Paul Maurice has the last change for the last line changes, Edmonton has scored 1 or less. I thought that was an interesting point by him. He said because they can match up the Barkov line with Edmonton's top line whenever he wants. Yep. But I will join you on your bet. In the case that I'm wrong about Stuart Skinner, I think we're going to find out very early whether he has it or not. And they're going to pull him out of the game if he doesn't. And so either way, I think at worst I go 50-50. We'll go over on the first period.
Hey, brother, I respected you. You came with the zag of all time that this is the Stuart Skinner game.
And, hey, look, if we compare it to Indiana, it's the same situation. They got him right where they want him. They got him right where they want him. Skinner always steps up. He's never lost a game 4.
I hear you, brother. All right, I'm actually just going to bet that right now, that first period. 888 Mad Dog 6, 888-623-3646. Oh, it's big time juiced.
Yeah, it's happening.
Yeah, it jumped up. It jumped from 135 to 145-ish. Is that what you're looking at?
I just bet 145.
Yeah. We had 5 goals in the first period in Game 2.
No.
We only need 2.
And by the way, I think you have not that he's not motivated, but McDavid's about to make some S happen. That's the vibe I get.
Hey.
He's going to carry them. There's too much on the line. The Oilers can't go down like this, and they can't lose 2 years in a row to the same team with the cup on the line, with the opportunity in front of them. I think McDavid and Draisaitl step up massively here in Game 4.
You can get your picks in on the ice, and also we'll ask you, you're betting money on the Pacers and Thunder. Did last night change your opinion? Are you all in, like the show? Big announcement on the Pacers. We'll come back, discuss VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Welcome back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
Yeah, I mentioned the newsletter when we were talking to the boys down in Omaha. You can check out the newsletter, VSiN.com/newsletter. There's no obligation. It's completely free. You get your betting menu, get free picks in there as well. You just go to VSiN.com/newsletter and enter your email address, and you're absolutely good to go as we welcome you back here. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Coming up at the top of the hour, our buddy Josh Applebaum is going to join. Of course, we got a series, our Pacers in the NBA. Josh was on the Pacers as well. Thought they might be sneaky in the series, so we'll talk about that. We got a game 4 ahead of myself on the ice in Florida tonight as well. Let's get to the calls, and we say hi to our buddy Sean in Texas. Hey, Sean.
Hey, thank you for taking my call. So first of all, Sam Bennett power play point. That's my bet for the night. Anyway,
nice, Sean.
It's just Edmonton's taking a lot of penalties. Sam Bennett's killing them on the power play. I'm just going to keep riding it until the wheels fall off. Now, I am so all in on the Pacers that I think if you walk with me a little bit, I think at plus 3,000, the place that Kevin Durant's going to go isn't going to be the Spurs. It's going to be the prodigal son returning to Oklahoma City because they're going to need him to get over that hump finally.
That would be, you know what, Sean? I don't know what the odds are. Yesterday, the odds. So Kevin Durant, there's betting odds for where he's going to end up when he leaves the Suns, which is going to happen. The Spurs yesterday were minus 160. So to give you context, I think the second betting team was like 5-1, somewhere in there.
Yeah,
so
Houston.
The point is the market is saying Durant essentially a done deal with the Spurs. That's what the market's telling you.
Oh, yeah. Massive movement. And I think a lot of it, I mean, it may just be speculative, but Bill Simmons in his pod, he did say he thinks there's a chance that Durant to the Spurs is already done and they're waiting for the finals to end to announce it. And then the market moved. So if he knows something, he may be right.
You've talked about wanting Durant to return to Oklahoma City.
I think it's a cool story. I know people still don't like Durant. I'm not as angry at him as everyone else is outraged about him going to Golden State. I think there's a cool full circle moment, especially if they don't win this series and they go back and the prince that was promised returns back to Oklahoma City after being shunned away. I mean, it feels very Jon Snow, Game of Thrones, pushed out of the North. He's a bastard. He has to leave his home, comes back to fight the war, right, and take down the Night King. I think it's all the great storylines. If the Thunder don't win this year, they go get Durant, and he puts them over the top. I mean, it doesn't get better than that.
I just saw Josh's head actually fall off his dome piece when he heard the analogy of Game of Thrones and Durant returning to the Thunder. That was
he's the prince that was promised.
Yeah, well, but also the problem is they hate Durant in Oklahoma City, and they got their prince. His name is SGA.
And Winterfell hated Jon Snow. But you know what? When they needed a king in the North, he was the one to lead them in the war against the dead.
All right, I'm just saying.
The 5 kingdoms rested in his hands.
I hear you, brother. My guess is you haven't read Game of Thrones.
No, why? The show is one of the. You're the one who got me to watch the show.
The show's great.
The show's the greatest thing ever.
I would push back a little bit. Last book you read?
It was a self-help book that you told me to buy. Now, I only read like half of it, and I convinced myself I was cured, but it was a Ryan Holiday book. And I also have a book behind me it's called The Last Gunfight, about the OK Corral and the shooting that went down there. I was reading that as well.
Look at the big guy. He's always coming at you from different angles. You never know when he's going to pop up with the OK Corral and a little self-help.
Right here.
There it is. Our YouTube, VSiN Live on YouTube. You can see the books. Factual. That's a penalty in New York City. I'm watching NYCFC and Atlanta United MLS, and that is a freaking penalty that was a no penalty call. I'm on Atlanta United 3-1. That should have been a penalty.
The Red Bulls hired Tim Howard, by the way. How do we feel? Or Michael Bradley. That's who.
Bradley. Well, Red Bull 2. It's their second. It's not the proper.
Oh, that's confusing. So it's the G League.
I hear you, brother. It's the G League. When we come back, we got an author. We've got a husband. We've got a bettor and a VSiN analyst joining us. And we'll start quickly with his play, if he does have one, or thoughts a Game 4 tonight, because the puck's not going to drop at the top of the hour. We continue VSiN Live. It's Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Sweat your bets with VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio, as we welcome you back. Of course, we've got Game 4 coming up in a few minutes here. Puck hasn't dropped. Let's welcome in our colleague, VSiN betting analyst. All Systems Go is the podcast, Josh Applebaum. And by the way, his new book is coming out soon, August 12th. It's the NFL Sharp Betting Playbook, available right now on Amazon for pre-order. Make sure you go do that. Joining us live from the in-laws' crib in New Hampshire, Josh Applebaum. Welcome, Josh.
Patrick, Dustin, great to be with you. And yeah, I showed you guys the view, but I'm up here in New Ipswich, New Hampshire. It's the first official night. The in-laws have moved in. Just planted some stuff in the garden with my mother-in-law. She made us a nice albondiga soup, which is my favorite. You never had it, you guys. You got to try it. But we got working internet here. We got beers on ice. We got games tonight. Life's pretty good, I must say. And you know what else? You guys are talking Game of Thrones. Tomorrow, the wife and I, Elise, we are going to visit my sister and my brother-in-law in New Jersey for my niece's pre-K graduation. And as a celebration, we're going to have dinner afterwards at Holston's, which, if that sounds familiar, the final scene of The Sopranos where Tony either lived or died. We can have that debate if you want. Filmed at Holston's in Bloomfield. I've never eaten there before. This is a bucket list for me. I got the Tony similar shirt that I'm going to wear. I'm going to sit at his table. Guys, I'm going to have dinner where Tony, I think, survived. I cannot wait.
What? You think he survived? Hold on. First, Tony
Hold on, there
loves
was an
the onion
anniversary,
rings.
right? Didn't you tell me that, Dustin?
18 years ago, yeah, the other day.
Yeah, and now Tony liked the onion rings. He couldn't shut up about the onion rings. It was like half the final season was him talking about the onion rings there. So wait, you really think he survived? And do you think witness protection, or you think just went on with his life?
So I'm kind of, questioning this with my heart here, Dustin. I think he probably was killed. You cut to black. What happens when you die? Some people say the last few seconds of your life, all your greatest memories, play in your head. So Dustin, when you first met Patrick, when you first got to work with him, I mean, you first met your girlfriend, like all these great, you and your dad playing catch when you were 5 years old, all those great things will come back to you. I think he probably was killed by the members only guy, but I want to believe that Tony survived. But I think the genius of David Chase is that, 20 years later, we're still debating it. And I think it kind of leans more or shows more about you as the viewer, what you thought happened, because it's the perfect postmodern ending. Either he survived or he died. David Chase isn't going to tell you. You have to figure that out and decide for your own. I hated it when it happened. I was like everyone else. I was Patrick and Dustin. I believe I was a sophomore in college, home for the summer, sitting next to my mom and dad for the finale there. Obviously the screen goes black. We're like, what happened? We lost power. Number one, I'm getting old. Number two, I think he did survive, or at least I hope so.
That's a good breakdown. Let's do this quickly. I know you don't have an official bet. Florida is $140. Edmonton's plus 125-ish, somewhere in there. The total at a couple of books has dropped to 6. Did you do anything with Game 4 on the ice?
So I was trying to, look at kind of an option here, both side and total, Patrick. In terms of the side, it hasn't moved too much further toward Florida. If anything, this would be a system match desperation, awful loss for Edmonton. You heard Connor McDavid also say, hey, we haven't played our best game yet. That being said, you look at kind of the splits here. One thing that scares me a bit is, the Oilers are a little bit of a popular play. If you look right now at Circa, they're getting over 65% of bets. The total's gone back and forth, 6.5, 6. There's been a lot of wise guys who have been playing all of these under 6.5s throughout this series, and it feels like they're dead on arrival, or there's a late empty net goal, that wins the over 6.5 or loses the under 6.5. I do have a prop though that I like, guys. Stuart Skinner. Stuart Skinner is a guy who I think deservedly so gets a lot of criticism. There are games where he can just be very porous. He's given up 5 goals in 2 straight games here, but if you look at his saves prop, over under saves, 26.5, and the over is juiced minus 125. I think this might be a game where Skinner maybe plays well. Maybe the Panthers pepper him and he can get some over saves here. He had 32 in the first game, 42 in the second game, only 23 in the last game, and really didn't play well. But what's notable to me is that's kind of a high number, 26.5, and it's still juiced over. So maybe tonight's the night where Skinner gets 27 or more. That'll be my bet, over 26.5 saves for Skinner.
I told you, Stuart Skinner game. He's built for it. He wins. He wins in Game 4. This is what he does. He's just okey-doking them. He's setting them up. I agree with you, Josh. I want to ask you about the NBA real quick, because the shift in the series price has been fascinating. Basically cut in half every step of the way. We're now down in the NBA where it's Oklahoma City minus 220, the Pacers plus $1.85. Do you see any value on either side of that one?
I mean, the value's got to be the Pacers plus 185. How many times have we seen? You actually saw this a little bit in the Celtics series, Dustin. When the Knicks went up 2-0, the Celtics were still kind of a big favorite to win the series, even though they were down. That to me, it's telling you that the odds makers are still just not injecting any bias, going off their power ratings, because they're telling you, even though OKC is down 2-1, they already kind of lost the home court advantage, losing game 1. They're still minus 220, as you mentioned, to win the series. That just tells me that the power rankings, the numbers, obviously they're favored in the next game here by, what is it now, 6 points at this point. That could be one of those games where maybe they roll and win by 20 and you get this thing evened up. But if you're telling me where the value is, it's plus 185 Pacers. And I would also say, the total games, we talked exactly a week ago tonight. And remember, we were looking at the 5.5 total games, where the under was really juiced up minus 140, I think. The over 5.5 was plus money. And I told you guys, I wouldn't sleep on Indiana. That could be an over 5.5 play. Well, now it's 6.5. The under is still minus 125. Does this go to 7? You can get plus 105. Then you really don't care who wins that final game. But I think you got to respect OKC. Even though they're down, they're still minus 220 to win the series. It almost feels too good to be true. Plus 185 with the Pacers. That always worries me. But again, if you're telling me where the value is, I'll take the plus money with a team that's up 2-1.
Josh, that's my bad. You had Pittsburgh and Chicago on the diamond as a best bet. It just started, so there are plenty of people that can get involved in-game with no changes here. For the most part, top of first. What'd you have with the Pirates at the Cubs?
Yeah, no worries, Patrick. I got the Cubs in this one. It's kind of a big number. I got Chicago a little bit earlier today around minus 190. They closed about minus 200. The angle here, Patrick, is some system matches. Because if you look at the Cubs in this spot, number one, if you look at Thursdays, they're kind of a weird day in baseball. It's getaway day. It's either the first game of a new series or the last game of a current series. Thursday home favorites minus 175 or more are 12-4 this year, 75%, 8% ROI. Also, if you look at just big home favorites, minus 170 or more in the opener of a new series, those teams this year are 56-18, 76% with a 10% ROI. And one of my favorite system matches this year, you can call it a trend, a system match, whatever you want, but the Cubs off a loss. They are the best team in baseball, quote unquote, when it comes to bouncing back. Off a loss, they're 19-5, 79%, 43% ROI. And they're also happen to be the best chalk team in baseball, Patrick. They're 32-13, 71%, 15% ROI as a favorite. So it's a big number. If you're going minus 200, make sure you do bet to risk, not bet to win. That way you're not risking 2 units to win 1. You're just risking your 1 unit, trying to get a half unit back. I'm going Cubbies in this one.
Yeah, I love it. Tyon has been awesome this year for the Cubs. And then Andrew Heaney, look, he's been solid, but he's still Andrew Heaney. And you look in the OPS ranks in baseball against lefties, Cubs have a lot of lefty killers. I think they're 6th up there. They have a lot of guys like Nico Horner and Kyle Tucker who just mash lefties. I agree with you. It's a great spot for the Cubs. The thing that always throws me off, Josh, with betting Cubs games is, I think you know where I'm going, is the wind. And figuring out how it's going to be at first pitch, because I always want to bet Cubs team totals. And every time I look to bet Cubs team totals, it's on a day where the wind's blowing in. How do you factor in the weather, the wind, all of that into your MLB betting?
Yeah, it's really important. I think on the one hand, anytime you see a 7.5 juiced under and it's Chicago, you don't even have to look up the weather. It's wind blowing in because it has such a big effect. And then also, when the odds makers are setting these numbers, sometimes they wait quite a long time to set the Chicago number. Like you'll get all the other games with their totals, and really what they're waiting on is the weather because, wind blowing in, wind blowing out, that has the biggest effect of any ballpark really. So it's important to me, obviously knowing the weather. And we've talked about, some segments a couple weeks ago about the importance of weather. It's an overlooked thing. It's not sexy. It's kind of nerdy, but it's so important if you're grinding baseball every day. Again, one of my favorite sites is Roto Grinders. So if you go to Roto Grinders MLB, they do a great job of color coding all the stadiums, the wind directions. And then also you might get wind blowing in for the first hour of the game, and then maybe it dies down or maybe it's crosswind. So you want to make sure if you're looking at wind blowing in, don't just assume it's going to be steady the entire night. If it's only for an hour or so, maybe you want to do a first 5 under. Those things are important. And then just regardless of the wind, just the total, one thing I liked even more about Chicago tonight is they're a big favorite, like minus 200, but the total is very low, 7.5. So when I look at, if I'm going to bet a favorite, I want a low total. To me, the line of demarcation is 8.5. If you're 8 or less, that's a low total. 9 or more, that's a high total. But anytime, and I learned this a long time ago from a mentor of mine, he always said favorites, low totals, dogs, high totals, because with a fewer amount of expected runs scored, more likely to come from quote unquote the better team. If you're on a dog, you want a high total, 9, 9.5, 10. That basically is saying, hey, if there's going to be a lot of variance, a lot of runs scored, that's actually a benefit in an equalizer, leads to more upset opportunities. So not just the wind and the direction, but the kind of comparing the side to the total, that can be part of your cap when you're playing baseball.
A lot of good nuggets in there from Josh with the correlation there. We should give you props because not many people, we had our buddy Alan White Plains call in. You came on before the finals started in the NBA and said, people are sleeping on the Pacers. They just are. So I give you credit. They're up 2-1. They stole game 1, obviously, with that thrilling final couple of minutes. Pacers live right now.
I think so. And really kind of just, to me, when there's a team that you don't want to play, one is are they so young they don't know any better? Like, are they so young or kind of inexperienced where inexperience can work versus experience in different ways? Like either you're battle tested, you know what it's like, or again, you've never been in this position. People don't expect anything of you. You can play that underdog role. And I just think Carlisle, his offensive style, the way they move the ball, they're like the anti-Celtics. You know, I'm a Celtics fan, obviously, and I can't believe I believe the Celtics swept them last year in what was it, the second round or so, and that was in hindsight, kind of looking back on it, pretty impressive when you think about it. But to me, when you have a team where you have a guy who is just not afraid and will take the final shot like Halliburton, and then you have everyone who can play their role, and really you're just playing with house money. To me, that's a team to be fearful of. And again, when they keep upsetting, you know, all the teams they've played, what was it, the Bucks, and then obviously the Knicks. That's a team that I think at some point you got to say they're not just lucky; they got something going there. So it should be a great series. You know, the odds makers still think OKC will come back and win this thing. But man, if you've been playing Pacers as a dog, I believe they're close to like 75%, you know, covering 3 out of these 4 and even winning outright as a dog this postseason.
Yeah, Josh, and then game 4, we've got the Thunder right back where we were in game 3. They're laying 6 on the road. The total keeps ticking down a little bit, 225.5 now. I was 226 last game. Before that was a little bit higher. I mean, what do we make of the market not really adjusting game by game, still believing the Thunder are the team, as you said, is going to pull this out?
Yeah, the one thought I had, Dustin, is I actually played the over in last night's game, and I immediately regretted it because there was late steam that dropped that total late. It was like 228.5, 227.5. I believe it closed 226. One adjustment that I've seen is they are dropping these totals. Now we're at, as you mentioned, Dustin, 225.5. And if you look at the early splits here, which again, it's a bit dangerous because it's still, you know, a ways away or it's tomorrow, and the public probably isn't betting this game until tomorrow when they get out of work. You're still getting around 75, 80% of bets going over, but yet the total hasn't moved at all. So do we start to see, you know, some lower scoring games? If you look at right now in terms of Circa, because I like to compare DraftKings to Circa, it's just a different clientele. OKC is only getting 50% of bets, but nearly 80% of the dollars. So is this the game where OKC, you know, shows up and wins by, you know, 15, 20? Because, hey, the Pacers stole home court. They're up 2-1. Again, you got to think about the zigzag theory. That's something that I know, Patrick, you've been playing for years, and Dustin, and so have I. A lot of people will say now, oh, it doesn't apply as much anymore. The public is caught up to it, which is true. But the fact that you got a good bet split and this line isn't dropping, and in some shops, again, the last game was 5.5. Now this is 6. That tells me the odds makers are bullish on OKC, you know, coming out with a win and maybe covering this one tomorrow.
Josh Applebaum, of course, VSiN analyst, author, joining us here on VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. It looks like we're still doing player introductions down in Florida, so still have a little time to go until we drop the puck. Game 4, Stanley Cup Final. What is going on, and maybe you can explain to a national audience, the Illinois transaction fee? Like, what is happening in Illinois right now?
Yeah, so this is kind of nitty-gritty economics, taxes, and all that kind of stuff. But it's kind of caused a lot of, headlines. And I always shout out David Purdom, who writes for ESPN. He does a great job of kind of making these complex things easy to digest. But this one's pretty easy. Basically, Illinois is now charging 50 cents in terms of a transaction fee on every bet. It starts September 1st, and they're going to basically do it based upon, if you kind of look at the nitty-gritty, they're going to charge 25 cents on the first 20 million wagers online and 50 cents on each additional bet. So you don't have to get too deep into the weeds. Basically, it means to me that Illinois wants more money. And I get it. All these states want more money. They see the revenue and they don't just say, oh, this is great. Hey, this was illegal prior to 2018. And now we're getting this basically free money that we can use to our advantage. No, they're kind of asking for more. So I think as a bettor, obviously this is not a good sign because it just means we're going to have to pay more in terms of placing a bet. And you always see like DraftKings and FanDuel are your market setters. They're your 2 biggest books. I believe combined, they represent, I don't know, like 80% of all the, you know, the app downloads. They're the 2 big behemoths. You saw FanDuel come out and then kind of put on their own 50-cent tax on their bets. DraftKings has done the same. On the one hand, as bettors, I don't think we can really do much about it. Unfortunately, this is just part of the game and legalization. And when these states are going to operate this way, again, you're kind of at the mercy of them. But I do think this provides an opening to other sports books. Like, are there going to be books that not like FanDuel or DraftKings. But is there another book that says, no, we're not going to charge this tax? I think that would go a long way to creating goodwill, having people sign up. Again, I'm thinking probably a little bit, naively, but if there are some books that could take advantage of this, that would create a big opening. Almost like, Patrick, this, all our times at the South Point, where South Point would have reduced juice. They're minus 105. Chris Andrews does a great job with that. That makes a lot of people want to go bet there. Nothing you can do about it. My question is, will other states follow suit? Will other states see Illinois and say, hey, we like our piece of the pie. Now we want more pieces of the pie. Not great for the bettors. Not much you can do about it, but it opens up an opportunity for other books to come in and kind of say, hey, come our way. We're going to treat you better than the big behemoth books.
Yeah, but Josh, correct me if I'm wrong. So if you bet $10, there's a 50-cent fee. If you bet $1,000, it's a 50-cent fee. So the smaller bettors, it's a bigger portion of your bet you're losing or have to pay extra on. It just doesn't compute to me, because all these books are doing is incentivizing you to go look to the shady offshore places to book if they're going to keep doing this. So I'm not really understanding their motivation outside of the greed aspect, but we have options even if they're not legal, I guess I would say.
Yeah, that's a great point, Dustin. So that's the other thing that, when lawmakers who are dealing with politics, they're not really, aware of kind of the nitty gritty gambling and the way sports bettors are going to operate. They just see, hey, we increase this, X percentage, we're going to lead to more revenue for us. That's all we really care about. But to your point, yeah, I mean, does this force other people to go and create that Curacao, Panama account, go to Western Union and create?
It's shady.
I mean, that's not what you want. I think if you're in the legal game, does it open up opportunities for people to say, hey, I'm going to go back to a bookie because they're not charging me? We'll see how it goes, Dustin. The other thing is, I believe I was reading that it's a tax on whether you win or lose the bet. So it really doesn't matter. You got to pay it either way. Again, I don't know all the details when it comes to this, but I just think this is maybe the canary in the coal mine of like, hey, legalization is great. We've been having, since 2018, a really good time here. Is this a wake-up call that, hey, things may be starting to change and change negatively in terms of the economics for the bettor?
Bastards. Just leave the bettor alone. You're going to be fine, books. I mean, come on. My gosh, you need every penny. And by the way, if you keep gouging the player, they may start turning, like Josh said it perfectly. You can go offshore. I mean, you can figure it out. If you're going to gouge the player, they're going to rebel. So I hate to see that. This is, before we say goodbye, a lesson that new bettors don't even think about. They just see a number, they play the number. The one thing that stands out in my mind is this concept of 3 and 3.5 in NFL betting, where people are like, yeah, I laid 3.5, and I'm like, well, you're gonna lose. If you could have laid 3 somewhere else over the long run, you're going to lose your ass. Tell us about shopping for the best line.
Yeah, it's so important. And, we've been using, Patrick, you and I, the Odds Logic live odds page. If you ever want to give it a shot, you can go to oddslogic.com/Josh123. Shameless plug, Patrick. But I just think it's so critical because so many new people are coming into betting for the first time. And you really can't fault them because this is a complex industry. It's a really difficult industry. The three of us, we bet all the time. And it's still a challenge every single day to produce a winning day because we got to overcome the juice. We got to overcome the super sharp lines the odds maker set. We can make a great bet. The team doesn't show up or the guy makes an error or missed kick or whatever the case may be. But the one thing that you can do to increase your chances of winning is trying to get the best number. So you made the most important point you can make, Patrick. And I know it's not football season right now, but the 3, the 3.5, the 2.5, that is the spot where you're going to notice wins turn into losses or vice versa, or pushes turn into win or losses. And remember, yeah, most of the books will have a pretty similar number, but there are books who are outliers. There are books who, cater more to sharp players, books like, Global Books, Pinnacle or Chris or Bet Online or Circa out in Vegas. Then you have, your big kind of books that move on air that, really welcome recreational money, that limit winning bettors. And I'm not going to call them out right now because I don't want to get them mad at me, but whole point being is different books have different numbers. And if you can find in baseball, it may not make a big difference. Like if I bet a favorite minus 120, you bet a minus 130, the team wins. we both win. But technically, I would win a little bit more if I'm betting to risk versus betting to win because I laid a better price. But like with totals, if there are a lot of 9s out there and one book has a 9.5 and you find that and go under 9.5 and then it lands on 9, to me, it's when you do it in practical terms and then you see the results and you win only because you got the best number, that then a light goes on in your head and everything changes and you say, hey, I got to do this for every single game. So again, you can't control the outcome, but as a bettor, open up all the accounts available to you legally in your state, shop for the best price. And again, that's really going to increase your chance of winning long-term, whether it's the hook, on or off a key number, or just getting a better money line or total price.
Now that's a hit. Well, I'm going to say goodbye, Dustin, just because we got Kelly coming up at the bottom of the hour. But that is information, bets, and it's all done from the in-laws in New Hampshire. Who's better than J.A.? I heard, hey, we were coming back from a break. I did a hit with Shine today. He was coming back from the break, and they were promoting your book, the NFL Sharp Betting Playbook. And he working in the apple-bottom jeans, boots with the whatever. So we're pumping the book there, Josh. Again, the book is the NFL Sharp Betting Playbook, available on Amazon, VSiN Betting Analyst, and you can check out his podcast, All Systems Go, which is the pod. Josh, enjoy the family. Thanks for doing this from there. We appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys. I'll give you a little cut from the earnings. All these books you're pushing for me. I appreciate it.
Let's go. Let's sell 1 million. I hope you do. When we come back, we've got boots on the ground or skates on the ice in Florida. 17:51 to go in the first. It's zippy, so we'll keep you updated there. And we've got the U.S. Open. Round 1 is complete in Philadelphia. Where's Oakmont? In Pennsylvania?
I think it's more Pittsburgh, Allegheny.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. Pardon me. Just an insane track that they're playing on. Kelly Bidlin, who's part of our golf coverage over at VSiN, is going to join us to talk about the U.S. Open next. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Now back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
I mean, I guess the good news is Skinner hasn't given up a goal yet. Not good news for our over a goal and a half in the first. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. 15:04 to play in the first. Zippy with Edmonton and Florida. We'll keep you updated on that one. Just spoke with Josh Applebaum. Did a great job. Of course, the big guy, Dustin Swedelson, posted up in Vegas in front of his Doc Gooden jersey on the wall in his kitchen, which is a good look. Jeremy Shockey likes the good people in sports, of course. That's Dustin for you. Kelly Bidlin is our buddy. He's a VSiN host. Long Shots is the podcast when talking golf. It's the best pod out there if you want to bet on golf. Also co-host of a numbers game Monday through Friday, 10 to noon Eastern time. We say hi to our buddy Kelly. Kelly, we were talking about Oakmont. It's a joke. The USGA, every year, they just want to punish the PGA. Like, they in some way, they take a sick, sadistic pride of pummeling the players, and they're going to do it again this year at Oakmont.
Yeah, it is shown its teeth day one. That is for sure, Patrick. Patrick Dustin, great to see you guys as always. Talk to you guys, always great. I've only got elephants behind me. I'm not as cool as Dustin Swedelson, so that's only got that on the walls. But yeah, Oakmont, man, it is a beast, and it is. We were talking a little bit about it during the break. You've got to be at this point with U.S. Opens. We love betting golf, do it all season long. You got to dial back a little bit with some of the bets that you're making, either unit size or number of bets or both, because these courses can just be so impossible sometimes. And if you put in the wrong spot off the tee, good luck getting up and down. And there's a ton of big names that are likely heading missing the cut. Shane Lowry, Tony Finau, Justin Thomas, Patrick Cantlay. They're done after day one.
Yeah, Kelly, I saw the aerial shot of the course, and I saw a ton of sand, and I just kept waiting. All right, where's the water? Where's the water? Where's the trees? There's no tree. It's just sand. I've never seen so much sand just on a golf course. It blew my mind, and apparently it's longer than it was the last time we were there in 2016. When you ran your numbers, when you were looking for golfers that you wanted to target, though, did all those traps and the way the course is set up, did that lead you to thinking this is an opportunity for someone who's a long shot to take a flyer on where the field's been evened? Or was there someone that you thought was safer at the top of the board? How did you approach it?
Yeah, sort of, Dustin. I think it's a great question because what we've seen in the major so far this year, I've really entered each one of them kind of with the same vibe of, hey, there's only probably 5-6 guys that I trust to win this thing. When you get a course, though, that's as tough as Oakmont, I think it does level out the playing field a little bit more. And we see that with what the leaderboard looks like after day one. So I didn't want to buy in. I was very interested in Scotty Scheffler, John Rahm, Bryson DeChambeau. I think that's as many people probably were. Didn't want to buy in at prices though, but pre-tournament wanted to see how they did day one. If there were live opportunities to get in, I did buy in on John Rahm at mid-tournament at a 10-1. He's like 6-1 right now. I still don't think that's a bad number. Great ball striking today by him off the tee and on approach. It just had some bad breaks and the putter wasn't great today, but I think Rahm is your rightful favorite. I don't hate a play on him at 6-1 and entering it, Dustin, it really was looking for, there was a couple guys that I was targeting in the outrights, and then every other market approach is always going to be our most important stat. But then the off the tee play here was going to be paramount, whether you needed to have distance off the tee or you needed to have accuracy and stay out of this long rough that these guys had to deal with. So those are the guys I was really targeting. Putting I didn't take into account too much because these greens are so brutally tough. What happens when you're handicapping golf and when we see these tournaments play out, when they're really tough greens, it helps level the playing field a little bit between the really good putters and the bad putters. If the good putters struggle, then the bad putters, it gives them a little bit of an opportunity to hit the more of their average. So that's kind of how I entered the tournament and where I'm sitting at right now.
Yeah, Kelly Bidlin joining us here, VSiN Live, talking U.S. Open, round one in the books. I mean, these are great golf. Lowry shot a 79.
Yeah.
This course This course is stupid. Straka, who I know you and I both love, that assumed that being long and straight off the tee would be beneficial. He shot a 78. He's 8 over. See you later, Sepp. Let's go to the top of the leaderboard, then we'll get into some of the interesting names. JJ Spawn and some dude from South Africa named Lawrence. And then you get Koepka, who's 2 under, so he's T3 along with Woo Kim. And so there, you mentioned Rahm. Talk to us about the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, I think it's look, you're not going to get juicy second round matchups playing against JJ Spawn or Tristan Lawrence. And look, there's a massive difference between those two players. I do want to make that clear for people that are maybe a little bit more unaware of the PGA Tour. JJ Spawn's a good player. He almost ran down Rory over at the Players earlier in the season. He is a very good player. When we're talking to U.S. Open major type conditions, do I expect him to remain at the top of the leaderboard? No, I do not. Do I think a top 10 or top 20 finish for him is realistic? Yeah, I do. But his putting numbers were insane today. And what I like to do when we're looking at in-tournament bets is expect the variance to happen with the putting. When you see guys that putted lights out, expect them to come back to the field a little bit through the tournament. And when you see guys that really struggled with the putter massively, expect them to rise a little bit through as the tournament goes on. So Spawn and Lawrence, incredible putting days. Great for them. Great for anybody that had a first round leader bet on JJ Spawn. But see you later. I don't think either one of them's around by the end through the weekend. Now, Brooks Koepka, biggest X factor, I have no idea. We've seen what Brooks Factor's done at majors in the past. I'm not going to rule this guy out. The guy had the stones with how bad he's been playing the past couple of years. He had the stones to call this course not that hard before the tournament even started, and then went out there and actually proved it today. So Brooks, I've got so much respect for, man. He's a little sassy. I know he was getting a little sassy with the media post round today. I'm kind of rooting for him, but I cannot tell you to go put a bet in on Brooks. He really hasn't put enough together consistently over the past couple of years to go there.
I'm glad you said that, Kelly, because I was having a little bit of FOMO. I placed 2 bets. I just copied someone, and one of them is John Rahm. So that's doing well right now. I had 12-1. He's plus 550. I thought about Koepka because the 2 U.S. Open wins. He was 60-1. Now I see him doing well, and I'm like, all right, well, that was stupid not to bet it. But like you said, he's been horrific. Who saw this coming? It's also a long tournament. And with that being said about it being a long tournament, Scottie Scheffler is currently 6.5-1. At what number do you just take the number on Scottie Scheffler, even though he didn't have a good day today?
Nah, Dustin, I'd love to. He's the best golfer in the world. The books are pricing us out. We're priced out. The live odds were so silly today. He's 1 shot off basically missing the cut at this point, and he's still, second favorite on the board behind John Rahm?
Yeah.
It's silly. I'd love to. He's the best golfer in the world. We all want to get some Scottie Scheffler exposure. I played a top 10 first round play on him. That's how I decided to attack it this tournament. That was a swing and a miss. But it is, I can't recommend that one. The one I'll pivot to is if DeChambeau was someone you loved heading into the tournament, his odds at least a little longer, 18-20-1. You're going to find out out there on him. I would rather play him at that number than Scheffler at his number at 5-6-1.
Yeah, it's crazy with Scheffler because the last 3 tournaments he'd won by 4 strokes or more. So he wasn't just winning; he was dominating. And then he was like a Tiger number coming into this at plus 260, which is crazy. He's 3 over. Just for reference, McIlroy 4 over. We didn't expect much from him with the driver coming in. Let's talk about some of the players that are in shouting distance and maybe a couple surprises. I mean, you've got Spieth at even, and that is for Jordan Spieth to be sitting there with a 70 after round 1 at the U.S. Open. That's pretty promising. Also, even par is Morikawa. Anybody else stand out that's kind of shouting distance right now?
Yeah, I'll give you a couple, Patrick. Look, there's I'll start with those 2 right away. Colin Morikawa. Dustin probably sat through many shows that we did together. He knows how much I bet him last year. This year, I've been staying away and waiting for him to kind of round into form and show some consistency because he usually is a guy that plays this game so consistently well. I haven't been able to get on board with Morikawa this season. I know there were some people that liked him this week. In theory, what we liked about Straka, Patrick, should fit with Colin Morikawa as well. He's very accurate off the tee, and then he's got a great approach game. I don't hate it, but I'm not on board with that one. Spieth, Spieth's a guy. Look, he's probably my least favorite golfer on tour. The talking when he knows he's on camera drives me absolutely insane. He just whines about everything. But having said that, he did rate out as like a top 10 guy for me this week. So if anybody wanted to jump in and play him, I was looking at odds just before I hopped on with you guys. I think if you wanted to play a live top 20 or something like that on Spieth, I do expect that he's going to be hovering around there. The couple other names I'll bring up. Siwoo Kim, I don't think he's going anywhere. He's a guy that rated out very highly for me. I think a live top 10 at plus 125 I'm seeing right now. I think that's a good play. He led the field in tee to green play this in the first round. The putter just dropped off a little bit. That is very normal for Siwoo Kim. What I like about Siwoo Kim, I considered him very heavily before the tournament, but ultimately decided to pass. And what I really like about him is he's a level-headed player with these conditions, frustrating guys like Scotty Scheffler to a point where he's spiking clubs into the ground today. That's what you need. You need someone that's just going to be able to make par and get through this. I like Siwoo for a top 10 play. The other one, I don't know how I'm going to bet yet, but I am going to make a play on is Victor Hovland. I think the safer play is a top 20 on him at plus 110. You could go that route. However, Vic is another guy that hasn't put together all the consistent finishes this year. Again, I might just play a swing for the fences more play a top 5, a top 10 on him. See if he really puts together his game. He's going to end up there. He lost over 3 strokes to the field with the putter today. His tee to green numbers were awesome. The putter was just gross. So I like Vic. I like Siwoo Kim. I think those are some placement market bets that you could make.
Let's look with some longer guys. Pre-flop, Ben Griffin was 70-1, Kelly. And I just saw his name making the rounds across golf Twitter where he was a name people were discussing. And I'm looking at the board now. He's down to 22-1. Is there someone a little bit longer that you think is lurking out there? And what do you make of a guy like Ben Griffin at the price of 22-1 right now?
I think Ben Griffin, I would throw up there with what we talked about with Brooks Koepka. I don't know what to do with him right now. He's a guy I keep thinking is going to fade one of these weeks, and he keeps putting together good week after good week. So I'm not going to knock anybody who wants to go out there and maybe play a live top 10 on him or something like that, but I'm going to stay away. The one guy I'll point to is someone I did make a pre-tournament outright bet on is Ludwig Åberg. He is around that same number right now, 28-30-1. I bet him in that range heading into the tournament. I think this is a guy who when we look back a year or two from now, we're going to be talking about him in the same realm of the top end golfers on the PGA Tour right now. He's got that kind of game. He's got the distance and the approach game to make this work on this course this week. And he's not too far back that he still could be in contention. We know historically 23 of the last 26, I believe, U.S. Opens, you had to be within 4 strokes of the lead on the first round for the winner to go on and win. So maybe you want to dial it back and play a top 5 or a top 10 on him. But I think Ludwig's a guy that I expect to show up more tomorrow and be around for the weekend.
I'm in. I just bet Åberg.
All right, go for it. Let me ask you, Kelly, because I started with what the USGA likes to do with the U.S. Open, and we know it's going to be the biggest challenge every year. I love golf. You are obsessed with golf. So I'll defer to you on this. Do you golf heads like the U.S. Open and how they try to challenge the golfer, or is it a little much?
Patrick, I couldn't care less about the golf. I care about my money and betting this, right? So this is from a betting standpoint, it's tough. It is tough when we go to, especially any of the majors where we circulate courses, right? Where the courses change every year. We don't have course data to really pull off of, but from just a viewing perspective, yeah, I don't thoroughly enjoy this. However, I understand the pushback from a lot of haters out there of, hey, this is too many birdie fests on the PGA Tour. I get that. There needs to be less of that, but there also can't be this every week. This is too tough. And when you're watching some of the best golfers in the world just play themselves out of it, and sometimes because of silly things that they have to deal with on the golf course, I'm with you. I don't think many courses should be set up this difficult.
Well,
2-man advantage, big guy for Florida.
Yeah, not good.
2-man advantage.
Not good.
Goal.
Well, you got your first period. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, we need one more. Still a little over 8 minutes to go in the first, 8:20. They had a 2-man advantage. won the face-off. Kachuk buried it. And this is going to make people happy.
Yep.
Travis Kelce and Tay are in attendance.
They
so
are.
people can lose their shit over something that doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, because Kelly, I guess with the U.S. Open, with how obnoxious the course is set up every year, it's like, do you value accuracy? Do you value the drive? Or is it literally you value nothing? We're just throwing darts when it comes to a contest like this.
I mean, that's where I talked about dialing back those bet sizes a little bit, because it is definitely a little more dart throwing that we're doing. But for me, it's always going to start with recent form. How are you playing coming into the tournament? I don't care what course we're playing at. Recent form is always going to matter the most to me. Even when we talk to Masters and how predictive tournament history is there, still, if you're not playing well heading into that tournament, I have no interest in you whatsoever. So that's really what I'm looking for when I'm targeting anybody to make a bet on.
Just anybody but DeChambeau. That's all I care about.
He's annoying.
I don't need it. I don't need it in my life. I don't need that energy. I'm too old. Okay, bro? Just take it easy. Dial it back a notch. But what did he finish? 4 over today, Kelly?
I think he's 3 over right now.
Well, he was your second betting favorite pre-tournament, obviously, like 7.5-ish to 1. Obviously, he's 1-2. He's great, but it's just a little much. It's a little much for your.
Oh, I hear you. He hasn't even done anything yet, like pick up a scoreboard and throw it or something like that, Patrick, like we saw last year. You never know. He might, he's got to move some objects out of the way sometimes. He's got to show you his strength, okay? His raw human strength.
Yeah, drinking raw eggs. It was just I hated the comments after Rory won the Masters. All right, bro, it's not about you. You're not the main player. All right?
He's also a fake tough guy. He's a fake tough guy. He got sensitive.
Oh, totally.
Look at you. Look at you.
Well, no, remember, my girlfriend thinks he's hot, so I don't like him.
Oh, fair enough.
I don't like him.
You got to toss him then.
He's a threat.
He's an auto.
What's up, Bryson? What's up, bro? I got you. Kelly, real quick. NBA. How 1 to 10? How shocked are you we're sitting in this position? Indiana up 2-1. Full disclosure, we declared this show a Pacers show 2 nights ago, so we're all in on Indiana.
Okay. Good to know. I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, I am about a 7 of shocked that we're at this point. But I would have said that after game 1, right? It really all started with game 1 and how that finished. I expected the Thunder to take care of business at home. I expected this to be a series. I didn't think the Pacers were just going to lay down and get absolutely dominated by this Thunder team. But man, that game last night, they made a statement, because you pull up often in NBA basketball, we can pull up a box score and figure out, well, this happened here and this happened here. And if the law averages work out, this isn't going to happen again. There wasn't much you're going to pull away from that box score besides the bench scoring on both sides. I mean, that was the big difference. But if OKC isn't going to have their bench provide support, they're in trouble. I bet them money line game 4. I'm going to go back to the well one more time with OKC. They cash some nice Western Conference futures for me. So I'm going to bet them in game 4. Might be betting them in game 5. I'll tell you what, though, I would not recommend a series bet on them right now, because if we're talking about these two teams meeting up in a game 7, I don't care that it's in Oklahoma City. I trust Carlisle and Halliburton more in that situation than I do with the Oklahoma City crew. So that's where I've kind of been talking today. If you're planning on making a series bet on OKC, just bet game 4. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, we got a series. What the three of us do, that's all we're hoping for. We want a series so we can talk about something that matters. Kelly Bidlin, VSiN host. Long Shots is the podcast with the crew. Wes, Matt Brown, and Kelly. You can find out wherever you get your podcast. Go to VSiN.com for more information. Also, a numbers game with Kelly and Gil, Monday through Friday, 10 to noon East. Kelly, thank you. Appreciate it. Great job.
Patrick, Dustin, thank you guys, and good luck tonight on the bets.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. There goes Kelly Bidlin as we are 1-0. It was, again, blocker side. I think he was screened.
Not his fault. Tough shot.
Yeah, I agree. I'll give him a little bit of a pass, but it did go right past that blocker.
And unfortunate that when they have the 2-man advantage, Florida, it wasn't because they got beat because there was 2 men on the ice. It was right off the face-off. Boom, gone.
No, they won the face-off and Kachuk buried it.
Yeah.
They did kill the second half, the Oilers, if you want to take some positive from it. They killed the second half of the podcast. The power play.
Hey, you know what they say. We were going to have to score one to win anyway today, so you might as well score one and tie it up and then see what happens next.
All right, 888 Mad Dog 6, 888-623-3646. So Dustin just asked Kelly about it. Shock 1-10 that we've got a 2-1 Pacers series lead. What do you rank it? It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
All right, you really can't make this up. Another power play for the Panthers. Marchand caught a high stick, so they're going back on the power play. Special teams here. The Oilers, again, playing into their hands. Florida leads 1-0 with a two-man advantage. Kachuk buried one. and now one-man advantage, 4:27 to play in the first, with Florida already leading 1-0. Come on, pull yourself.
I'm at a point where it's just like maybe we just tip our hat. Florida's that good. Maybe Florida's just that good, and I'm wrong about Edmonton being a coin flip difference. I really thought the teams were even. That's what I was expecting, but Florida has been dominating. Every time I look up, they have the puck. Every time it's in Edmonton's zone, every time they're getting a shot on net.
Yeah, they're crispy. They are. We've got our NBA insider at the top of the hour. Let's take your calls now. 888-623-3646. As it is often, the off the court drama dominates the NBA conversation, and the question about where Kevin Durant will end up continues to be a conversation. And we know it's not going to be in Phoenix where Patrick is. Hi, Patrick.
Hey, guys, great show. The last couple of years of my basketball life were wasted on Kevin Durant here in Phoenix. And, I feel like one of those fans in Brooklyn who thought they were going to win a championship, but the guy freaking wore a shoe that was 3 inches too big, and his foot was over the line, and that cost him a trip to the final. So it's just ever since he left the Warriors, I don't know if he's been cursed or whatever, bad karma, yada, yada. But he's old. He's always injured. And whatever team he goes to, they're going to overpay for him, not only with his actual salary, but they're going to have to give up a lot. And if the Knicks give up Towns and whatever else they have to get KD, well, they're going to continue being a cursed team with a horrible owner. And that's what they deserve if that's what happens.
I'm kind of there. I don't really understand, and it's another goal for the Panthers, so we did cash, but I think it's Tkachuk with his second. I mean,
it's over. It's over.
Series could be over, brother. A power play goal. So the Oilers have nobody to blame but themselves.
Two power play goals.
Two Tkachuk. 2 power play goals, I should say, from Tkachuk. Or that was just an assist. Nope, Tkachuk got the rebound. Skinner had to keep that and banged it home. So there it is. There it is, big guy.
Yeah. Hey, if I would have told you at the beginning of the Stanley Cup Final and the NBA Finals, one of these would be a great series and one of them would end up not being close, you would not have chosen NBA as the one that would be close, and the NHL is the one that looks like one team is clearly better.
I hear you. You know what I was going to say. Yesterday, a little drama on the program. Your dad, just simply trying to be nice, texted you, and you got very angry.
Yeah.
Very.
Yes.
I can't believe he's texting me during the show, entitlement. And then I actually asked you, I said, well, what if your girlfriend had texted you? Would you get equally mad? And you said, I got her trained. She knows not to text during the show. But your dad was texting, you would at least admit, to help out. He was like, here's some research on what you guys are talking about. So, and you got angry. So I'll ask you this way. If your girlfriend had texted to assist and help out with some research, would you get angry at her?
Yes, because I don't want to
Okay.
you want to do it during the break, that's fair. But I called my dad today and we spoke and he said, I'm just trying to help. I don't want you to sound like an idiot. And I said, Dad, unfortunately, sometimes I'm an idiot. So I know you're trying to help, but you can only do so much.
So you have a rule that she's not allowed to text you, your girl, during the program.
Okay. During like breaks, if she knows we're in a break, yes. But my dad was relentlessly texting in segment, trying to help support whatever argument we were having yesterday.
Right. Yep. I hear you. Totally hear you. Just was checking. Double checking. Glad you got it all smoothed out with Pops.
You're just trying to create drama in my life is what's happening.
Oh, I am not trying to create. I have a little bit of a looser situation. Like, if people want to text, what's it going to do?
It's not about don't disturb me. It's about if you know me, if you're close to me, you understand. I have problems focusing, and if the phone goes off, it takes me away.
Right. I hear you. That's the big guy. Hey, follow the rules, and you'll be just fine. Anybody in the zeitgeist of one Dustin Swedelson, you pay attention. All right? His world, we're living in it. Jonathan Von Tobel next.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
And we've got another goal in Florida, and it's the Panthers. The Florida Panthers lead 3-0. They've got 18, count them, 18 shots on goal in the first period to Edmonton 7. This is a freaking boat race as we welcome you back, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. It's a boat race. No other way to put it.
No, they're dead. Florida sucked the life out of them. They absolutely baited them into playing their game in this series, got in their heads in game 3, completely took them out of this thing, and Edmonton can't recover. And Stuart Skinner can't stop anything that's thrown his way. It also doesn't help that the Oilers keep getting penalties. They have 3 penalties. Florida has none. That's just not a recipe for success right now.
I'm right there with you, brother. I don't love to see it. Although we did catch the over 1.5. Now, you've had 3 goals in the first, 5 goals in the first, 2 goals in the first, and now it looks like it's going to be 3 more in the first. And by the way, this total got bet down. Was 6.5, got bet down to 6 at a bunch of shops. I have no clue who is betting the under in this series. That's what I would say.
Hey, look, with all that said, remember Edmonton was in a hole last year. They found a way to force a game 7. I would like to see that happen again, but the vibes, if we're going on vibe test, the vibes are horrific from the Oilers.
Our next guest said, I'm sorry, honey. I've got to go to Omaha, Nebraska to take some Jell-O shots and do a broadcast. Jonathan Von Tobel, he's a VSiN host. Money Moves, Monday through Friday, noon to 2 Eastern time. He's at MeJVT on Twitter. Of course, he is our buddy. He's also our NBA specialist at VSiN, and he joins us from Omaha. Jonathan, how are you?
What's up, my dogs? I am indeed in Omaha. I am standing outside of Black Beer Inn Table, mere feet away from Charles Schwab Field out here in Omaha, where the College World Series will take place starting tomorrow. We're about 3 in and ready to go.
Three what in? 3 Jell-O shots in or 3 beverages in?
That's a good point. Each.
Oh,
good for you. He shot out of a cannon, people. Jonathan Von Tobel in rare form. Tell us about Omaha. Set the scene. What's it like?
I've never been out here. This is actually my first elongated trip out to the Midwest. I had a stopover in O'Hare in Chicago one time for 2 hours. That was it. I dig it. We're staying right in the heart of downtown Omaha, so everything's within walking distance. So walking down to Rocco's where the Jell-O shop place is, and of course where our broadcasts are from. Everybody's pretty much staying in this area. So as we got in yesterday, and so as today has progressed, you can kind of feel the energy picking up. A lot more team gear out here. Young baseball teams are out. I suppose they do small tournaments in the area too in celebration of the tournament. So there's just a lot of baseball gear, vibes, teams, everything. You're hearing the chants break out. What do they call it in Arkansas? They call the pigs or whatever it is. You've heard that a bunch of times. So it's cool, man. The vibe is really cool. I am enjoying it so far.
You've got a good mix too of fan bases out there. You've got Big Ten, you've got SEC, you've got a couple small schools. What are you noticing the most? What colors are you seeing the most out there?
I got to tell you, you would not know if the Big Ten was in this tournament right now because there's not really any. Haven't seen anything in terms of that representation. But I will say the one that is, I guess, not surprised me because, again, I don't really follow these programs, so I don't know what the support is. A lot of Coastal Carolina. Especially when you hear the whole time hey, LSU, watch out. Hey, Arkansas, watch out. They're all going to come. The fact that I have seen so many, and I don't know what they say, go Chants or whatever it is, that are screaming to each other all the time, but there's a lot of Coastal Carolina support outside of the obvious suspects.
Most would know that JVT, he would say, I'm not going to L.A., I'm not going to New York. Send me to Omaha, and I'm in heaven. I've never been to Omaha. You're right there downtown. How is it? Is it a cool town?
It's cool so far. Yeah, I like that everything's within walking distance. I find it hard to say 100% I love this only because, look, my hotel room's paid for. I'm out here on a work trip, and, I'm in the heart of the action of something. Would I want to wake up here on a Thursday in November and just go to my job? Yeah, I don't know about that. But if I'm out here for 3 days just hanging out with some friends and getting some drinks, yeah, it's great.
Okay, I have been to Omaha. The downtown little area is really cool. It's really nice. It's got a good feel. Have you been able to convince everyone to go to the steak place I suggested, the Drover, which to this day, I had it like 10 years ago. It still might be the best steak I've ever had. Do we have steak plans in general?
No. So, okay, maybe I forgot. Maybe you told me about this and I just don't remember. Because that is kind of the one thing. So I'm a foodie type, right? So when I go, I want to try a local fare. And we were talking like, do we just go get corn, right? Like we're in Nebraska. Like, is that what we're supposed to do? But as you said, like I forgot, and it was pointed out to me, Omaha Steaks. So what is it called? I will try to convince many people right now.
So it's the
I
Drover. It's called the Drover.
Drover.
It hasn't changed in forever. You probably got to get a reservation. It looks like it was probably built in the 60s. Like all the glassware and everything is super old school, and it is a big, fat, perfect steak every time. 10 out of 10.
Okay, I'll put it on the list, see if I can convince the masses to go. We only have one more night outside of tonight.
So Jonathan Von Tobel, of course, in Omaha. We're going to get to the basketball, part of his specialty, but we should talk, again, VSiN, boots on the ground with Circa, and you guys are hanging out at Rocco's Pizza and Cantina, the Jell-O shot capital, where a contest is going down, and it's all going to charity. But help me understand why Jell-O shots are so important there.
So we actually got the full rundown on this, where it actually initially started with just like colored liquor, and it's like, oh, who are you here for? Let's, you can have this shot, and it devolved into, well, we're going to sell so many of these, it's so much easier to just sell those in terms of Jell-O shots, make them, whatnot, and that's where it got to. And it's funny. So we've kind of known about this for a little bit. I thought this was like way more. I thought there was way more history to the Jell-O shots, Patrick, but it turns out like it only dates back to like 2020. Like it's actually a relatively new tradition that has really taken off. So I think it's just one of those things that evolved from, hey, it's convenience, let's get these things out in a high number, and now it's just turned into something completely different. And I will tell you, they go down very easy. I'm very surprised about how good they taste and how strong they are as well.
And now, all of our friends over at VSiN did put together some unofficial odds on who on your trip would consume the most Jell-O shots. Were you surprised that you were the third favorite on the betting board at plus 550?
No, I mean, so I enjoy drinking, but I despise the way I feel the next day. So, like, I'm not like the biggest drinker in the world. I can get down if I so choose. But I'm not really, especially like, look, man, it's a work trip at the end of the day. I don't want to be that guy.
Sure. Keep trying to. You can lie to yourself about it being a work trip, but that's very true. That's very true. I'll leave that to Stormy. You know what I mean? So I will not be doing anything like that. I will not be a slob like some of these people that have already proven themselves to be such. So I probably will not win. It is the field that is ultimately going to win this thing because, like, there's people out here that are just like hanging out. You know what I mean? Those people are going to get crazy.
Those people are Jonathan Von Tobel. Money Moves on VSiN. They're going to be broadcasting again live from the College World Series in Omaha. Where'd you watch the game last night, Game 3 in Indy?
We found a pretty cool sports bar actually up the street in downtown. So that's where we went. I had like a list of places I wanted to check out. So that was cool. I don't know if it's because we're like in the Midwest area, but it seemed that there was a bit of support there for the Indiana Pacers. So it was cool to kind of watch it in that environment where it felt like most in the building were very pro-Pacer.
And the Pacers end up winning it. They're up 2-1. You've been pretty steadfast. Thunder, they're getting it done. Is there any shake in your confidence about your boys?
Oh, I mean, it has to be, right? I mean, look, I think that if and when it goes to 7, that like they could and should be able to win this thing. But like it's funny despite the crap that I'll get, if you listen to how I've talked about this, like I'd be a fool to not be shaken in my confidence. The Oklahoma City Thunder, Dustin, they haven't covered a road game. They're 0-8 in the postseason, ATS away from home. They're 4-4 straight up. They've been outscored by 6.9 points per 100 possessions. They're a team that their depth has not shown through. In fact, the other way around, it has shown through, right? Benedict Mathurin shows up in a really big way for the Indiana Pacers. T.J. McConnell shows up in a really big way for the Indiana Pacers. The bench made the biggest difference in the world in a very tight game. I would be a fool to come out and like pound the chest and say that they're going to be fine. Indiana in Game 3 completely and utterly dictated everything they wanted. They got out and run. They had an offensive rating in transition off of live rebounds of over 160. They had their role players get involved. Tyrese Halliburton was great. Pascal Siakam had a very quiet, incredible game of 21 points. Yeah, you if you're the Thunder or if you're somebody like me who thinks they're going to win this series, I did pick it in 5, so obviously I'm going to be wrong there. I guess theoretically it could end in 5 if Indiana wins out here. But yes, I am very shaken by what this has gone with for Oklahoma City. It's very surprising to see them struggle the way they have on the road.
Yeah, you mentioned Mathurin, and the bench of Indy outscored the Thunder 49-16. But you mentioned the other name I thought was the key to the game. T.J. McConnell, when he came in, and especially in the second quarter, with all those steals off the inbound passes, and just like it was so instant, it felt like it kind of flipped there, the energy.
Dude, so I think it was the second or third quarter where it's a 5-point game. OKC looks like maybe like, okay, they're going to start to take control here, right? And they make it a 5-point game off a bucket, and then it's a steal, bucket, and another steal, and you're like, dude, what are you guys doing? And that's McConnell. McConnell's fingerprints were all over it. Like, that's just, it speaks to what Indiana's done to this point to all of their opponents, and it speaks to as well kind of what the weakness has been, Patrick, for OKC, which is they haven't been able to rely on anybody else other than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Jalen Williams had a fine game in terms of scoring. They were still, I believe, -9 in his minutes when he was on the floor. Chet Holmgren got off to a hot start. He was abysmal down the stretch. In fact, there was one key moment in the game where Miles Turner barely puts a shoulder into him, and he goes flying like 10 feet because he's just so small, and Turner puts down a dunk. Like, these guys outside of Shai, and Shai hasn't had a great series, mind you, especially on defense. Like, these guys outside of Shai, though, there's nobody you can realistically trust to get a bucket, and that has been the Thunder's biggest issue throughout this entire run. And, I said this to you guys, regardless of the result of the postseason. I said it like 2 weeks ago with you guys. I said it last night when we were watching the game. I will say it again now. I don't care what the result of this series is. They better call for Giannis. Like, I don't think there's any question after watching this series. They better make a deal for Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I completely agree. They have to be in the conversation to get him, especially just because they're in a power position with all of the assets. But when you look at game 4, JVT, the market says it's the same as game 3. We've got OKC -6 on the road, totals down to 225.5. My question is with the coaching, because it seems like Dagnall's tried to play the Pacers game, and Carlisle's had him beat every step of the way. How do the Thunder adjust and make it their style of basketball?
I mean, I don't really think they do outside of play defense and actually get guys to show up. Because Dustin, we're through 3 games right now. This was the best the Pacers offense has looked without a question. So the first 2 games of the postseason, or for the series, they looked like ass on offense. Like, the Thunder were doing what they needed to do. And so we have a blueprint in which OKC plays their style of basketball. They just split the games. Their offense fell apart at the end of game 1. If they take care of business, we're talking about 2-1 the other way. They haven't. So I think if you're Dagnall, at the very least, the thing that you could point to is, like, common thread, guys, we can play defense if we want to. We just need some support in terms of offense. But can I say really quickly, because I know you asked about coaching, but I will divert to one thing you said. For your audience, and just think about this for a second, because it's the most conflicting thing in the world. You are looking at a point spread, which would tell you that back in Oklahoma City, they are a 12-point favorite. Remember in game 1, we started with a 10-point spread. So the Thunder have been upgraded 2 points over the course of a series in which they are down 2-1. Think about that for a second and how strong this zigzag has been. You are covering at a 65% clip if you're just betting straight-up losers in this postseason. You're 2-0 in this series if you've done it. The Thunder have shown no reason to be upgraded, and yet here we are. They have theoretically been upgraded by 2 points since the start of this series because they're now sitting in a situation where they lost and are bouncing back. It's absolutely insane to me.
Jello shots and drinks, and Omaha can't stop my man Jonathan Von Tobel. That is tremendous. You love to hear it. Hey, by the way, your co-host there, Stormy, who loves her some hockey, is she watching this pitiful 3-0 beatdown by the Panthers?
We're actually watching it all together right now. I'm staring at her inside the bar. She's sitting there with her husband, Chris. We're all watching it right now together. We have a show bet. I have Florida. She has Edmonton, so I am feeling great. The ramifications of which will be paid. She will be forced to wear a bald cap for one of our shows should the Edmonton Oilers not be able to win this series.
Well, that's
weirdest.
Hilarious. That is the weirdest punishment.
That is going to look
heard.
weird. Yeah, that is going to look
It's going to look hilarious, dude. I can't wait.
She'll do it too. She's a good sport.
Oh, she was fired up about it.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, how about the games? How excited are you to actually attend these College World Series games coming up? Because I can tell you, though, I only went the one time, and it was for the first weekend. The crowds were I couldn't believe how many people were in that awesome stadium. Do you guys like have seats, or you go in press row? Like, what's the deal?
Yes, we do have seats, so I'm looking forward to it. We have seats for the late game tomorrow night, so that'll be fun. I'm very excited. I guess I was told I'm being brought to the early game as well. I don't know if there's like some truth to that one, so I might be there for both tomorrow. Look, I'm not going to pretend to be the biggest college baseball fan in the world. I just barely nailed down the format for the greatest show on dirt 2 weeks ago. So, I am not really, into all of it. But when you're here, it is cool to experience it, be part of it, understand what all these people around here are so passionate about. So I'm very excited. And also, because, again, I'm standing right outside of the field right now when I'm talking to you guys. This is a nice ballpark from the outside. I'm very surprised by that. So I cannot wait to see what the interior is like. I like ballparks. I'm going to the San Francisco Giants Marlins series coming up here at the end of this month. So I'm a big ballpark guy. I cannot wait to see the inside of this. So, yes, I'm going to at least one game, maybe two, and looking forward to it.
Get used to hearing ping, 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 ping,
yeah.
ping. All right, before we say goodbye, let's get back to the crew. Oklahoma City 6, 225.5. Should they be 6?
I'm going to say no. I understand how great the zigzag theory has been, but Patrick, it just doesn't, to me, in my bones, I cannot sit there and say, I'm going to lay 6 for a team that closed 5 in a game they lost outright. For a team that has yet to cover a road game so far in this postseason, I'm going to lay 6 points with that team. I'm going to willingly buy into a market upgrade on a team that has failed in this situation 100% of the time so far in this postseason. I can't do it. They need to be downgraded at some point. So I'm sure they'll just bounce back and the zigzag will be easy and they'll blow them out by 20. But I can't willingly do that. It's Pacers or nothing.
All right, Donk. Be careful out there. Don't get involved with Steve Cohen around those Jello shots. That Donk. And we did talk to your buddy. We talked to Derek Stevens, who he seemed like he was having a good time too. No.
Yes. I mean, he got it started. It was the time that I started. Let's see. I think it was 12 o'clock, and he just walked up with 200 Jello shots with us. And he was like, "Let's go!" And I was like, "Okay, let's go." Who am I to turn you down?
Yeah, I saw the pic. It's great. Jonathan Von Tobel, VSiN host. Money Moves, Monday through Friday, noon to 2 p.m. Eastern, and that show will be broadcast live from the College Baseball World Series in Omaha tomorrow. Jonathan, thanks for doing it while you're on the road. Have fun. Be safe, man, okay?
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, there goes Jonathan Von Tobel. They're just getting lit. Now, most people know the big guy, and this is – why are you getting – I haven't even said anything. And you're
I know where this is going. I know.
Okay. Well, let me at least. You may not. You might. You probably. You know what? You do. You do know where this is going. Look, as he would say, the concept of the concept of coworkers being in the mix and on remote. Now, was he invited? No chance. He's also cashing out, people. So he wasn't invited. But the concept that he's good friends with Jonathan, Steve Cohen's there. He likes to butter up the bosses. Bill A.D. is there. The Circa crew. The amount of FOMO, and don't you dare try to play too cool for school with me right now. Just be an honest human for once. The amount of FOMO must be absolutely killing you.
No. I knew this would come up at some point, and I wanted my plan was to be I don't have FOMO. I definitely. And then the pictures and the videos started coming out at VSiN Live on Twitter of their trip. 100% wish I was there. Day drinking all freaking day, eating steak, watching baseball. I have massive FOMO right now because it looks like a really awesome time. They're doing their show in a bar. So that means you're allowed to drink while you're there and just have a good time while the sun's out pounding those brews. I am jealous of them right now.
Look, I'm going to say something that's a compliment to you. You're normal. That's normal. You want to be a part?
Normal.
No, you what? Well, no, I don't mean that literally, as far as life.
Yeah.
I mean, well, how much time we got?
30 minutes, 40 minutes.
Yeah, that's not enough to break that down in particular. But you are normal when it comes to now maybe your reasons for wanting to be there. we can debate those. But the concept that you want to just be with society, people you work with, people you know, and having a good time, that is normal.
No, and to show you how the FOMO is probably unhealthy. I mean, what have we established on the show? I don't like the middle of the country. I only like the coasts. Yet I wish I was in Omaha, Nebraska right now. That lets you know FOMO greater than what I believe are important cities, because no offense to Omaha, it's fine. But I wish I was there right now instead of Vegas.
Yeah, but that whole coast thing you actually made up in the middle of a sentence, and now you've just stuck with it. Because last time I checked, is the desert on the coast? Because you live in the desert.
If you keep driving, you eventually get to the coast, though. You get there.
I mean, what a dog. I just knew it. You know, I really did. It's just the whole crew is here. We used to have it when the Mad Dog Sports Radio would have, and I was just like, oh, thank God we didn't get invited. But when they would have the Super Bowl thing, and then Dog would have the Super Bowl dinner with the staff, it's almost hard to conceptualize how down and out the guy was.
I was in like a full-blown depression. Every single person at the channel was at the Super Bowl, was at the dinner, and there we were isolated on our island in Los Angeles, and you were like, this is the best. And I was like, this is the worst time of my life. Babchick is literally underneath a seafood tower on the table, letting shrimp drop on his face. And I'm sitting here in studio at night. You're like, I'd much rather do this than ever be there. And I thought you were crazy, and I still think you're crazy.
I agree. But when I say the big guy was down bad, I mean, shoulders humped over, the posture terrible, walking through the halls.
Do you know what was worse, though?
Keeping it together for me, but it was rough. It was rough.
Worse than the night when they were actually there, it was the next day of shows when they would recap the dinner. That's what really hurt the most. Where I just wish I could go one time. Invite me one time, and I'll be good.
Right.
I'm still
just
here.
Be in the mix. You just wanted to be in the mix. Feel part of the team. Yeah. You know, some would say you find that from within. You find it from within.
Still not there. Still not there.
You find that self-validation right inside your little belly.
We tackle a lot in therapy. We still have not completed many of these tasks. What we're discussing right now is on the list. It's just there's like 8 things ahead of it right now. So we'll get there.
Oh, no. The next therapy session has to start with why do I hate my dad? And then why did I lie on the air about I'd be mad at my girlfriend if she wrote. But anywho, so you got a lot to deal with. And so do I. Hey, I can lead with why don't I want to go be with people?
No, see, I actually think that's healthy. I know that sounds twisted. I think there's some healthiness to it because you don't need the validation of others to say, thank God you're here. I think I walk in a room, especially a bar, and people go, finally, we can have a good time.
See, I would say it's healthy that you admitted that out loud because that was a rough one.
It's not good. It doesn't say I'm a well-balanced person.
Like, yeah, what if you do go to the Mad Dog Sports Radio Super Bowl dinner where Dog, regales everybody and pays for everything, and it's just a great time. What I think we get confused that people think about us. No, like when you're there, they're only thinking about, hey, I'm having a good time. I'm not having a good time. They don't care. You don't care.
No, that one actually has nothing to do with the attention I would get from the other people at the dinner. That's more me being like, I'm at this dinner. Everyone else gets to go to the dinner. I want to be at the dinner too.
Yep, I matter.
Yeah.
I can post it on social, and other people will think I matter.
Yes. Other people go, wow, he gets to go to dinner with Chris Mad Dog Russo and Mike Babchick.
Right. Yeah, no, that is important, and that will definitely have an impact. But I knew it. We were talking to Jonathan. He was fired up. I was just like, I actually am feeling the amount of energy he had. I was like, I'm actually starting to feel bad for the big guy because that is, I clown, but I just knew that one was getting to him, people. That one was hurting.
Yeah, I mean, work trips are fun. You know why? Because they have very little work involved in them.
Yeah, it's just basically a bunch of people getting away from their families and getting hammered.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you go, you forget about your life. It's basically a vacation. Then you have to remind yourself there's a couple hours of work mixed in there.
Yeah, I hear you, brother. It's 3-0 Florida, and Skinner has been pulled. Pickard is in.
Oh, thank God. Too late.
So, yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. This coach that everybody loves for the Oilers is an idiot. First off, he can't get his team to stop landing their asses in the penalty box. It has to be on him a little bit. They haven't adjusted from Game 3. You got to put some of it on Knobloch. And then he sticks with Skinner after he pulled him in Game 3. That's a bad job.
Yeah, did he just get himself fired with this series? Because remember, he was a surprise hire from within a couple years ago, gets them to the Cup final 2 years in a row. Did he just get himself fired by being too late on the trigger with Skinner?
He certainly didn't get an extension. He's going to lose for year. Vote of confidence. He's going to lose for year number 2 straight in the Stanley Cup final. Like, there's going to be a lot of pressure on the kid, or whatever he is. And I'll just say this: you pulled your goalie in Game 3.
Yeah.
He gave up 3 awful goals. Why do you run it back?
Yeah, because the problem is he was in a bit of a conundrum. You go to Skinner and he stinks again, and it's too little too late. You go to Pickard, and if Florida puts 2 or 3 goals on Pickard, you can't go back to Skinner. You're pot committed to that he's got to be on the bench, and either way, you're in a bad spot. There was no winning formula here other than Stuart Skinner somehow just figuring it out and going on a heater, and that clearly didn't happen tonight.
Now, the only thing I would say is you're off the hook. We did call this the Stuart Skinner game, and we're not going to find out because he's not. And we do have a goal from Edmonton. Could they make it? Could they make it interesting? That's all I'm saying.
I'd also say the same game parlay where I used Stuart Skinner over 26.5 saves. I don't believe
Probably
that's going to get
hit
there tonight.
Probably not going to hit. Though if he stayed in, there would have been an opportunity because, Florida had 18 shots on goal in the first, so he already had 15 saves.
I think the bigger question here is, does Edmonton just not play defense? Because I'm not sure how Skinner's always under fire and Bobrovsky makes a couple saves a period.
All right, but let's be realistic. The most dangerous lead in all of sports is a 2-goal lead. Edmonton just got on the board. There's 16:23 to play in the second. This one's not over.
And, when they were down 3-0 and you're down 2, you can play a little bit freer. When you make it a 1-goal game, maybe you get a little tight, but no, they have a chance to come back here. They have a ton of firepower, and they have the best player in the world on their side. It's not completely over yet, and you may have mitigated the one issue you had, which is that you had a goalie that was essentially Olaying every shot that came his way. At least now you might make a couple saves on your
own. Yeah. You got rid of the worst goaltender on the planet after 2 bad goals tonight, 3 bad goals, 5 bad goals in the Stanley Cup final. Nice adjustment.
He might end up being a major punchline. Like, obviously he won't be back next season because it feels like Edmonton is a goalie away.
What's the updated price? Curious before we go to break.
That is a great question. It's minus 850 on the Panthers, plus 520 with the Oilers, total 7.5. If I didn't already have a losing bet on Edmonton, I would just think about for funsies 5-1 on the Oilers.
Well, I'm sorry. What was the plus price on the Oilers? Pardon me.
520.
You know what? A little fun. What's the adjusted total?
7.5. Juice to the over.
4 goals with a little over 15 to play. All right. Well, we've got a game. Edmonton put us on the board so we could have a fun last half hour here. The big guy with the FOMO, so obsequious. You know?
What?
That's what it comes down to. Obsequious.
What the hell does that mean? I don't. Doesn't that mean
green
and black?
Paying so much attention to others. Excessiveness where you're just like, give me it. But I do wish you were there. Hey, I would have been cool. You can do the show from wherever. Yeah, I would have been cool if you went out there and did it from the table there at that donk bar with the Jello shots.
We could have played a game. How many shots can Dustin consume in the span of the show? It'd probably go as well as the day I told you I could eat 100 chicken nuggets during the show, and I got to 80 in 45 minutes, and you pulled the last 20 away from me.
Yeah, it was disgusting. Jonathan's like, I don't know, 30 years old. But he said I like drinking, but I don't like the next day. Listen, son, get to 47 and see how it feels.
The next day. If I drink on a Saturday, I'm not good till Wednesday.
It is a 2-day. It is at least a 2-day recovery if you go hard.
Yeah,
and if you're doing if you're doing Jello shots, let me
sugar.
explain something. Those are all sugar.
Oh.
That hangover is absolutely lethal.
No, it's like margaritas, any of the stuff that's like half sugar, it just beats your ass.
All right, what do you want to do? You got a tease for us?
Yeah, we're going to play a little smash or pass where, of course, I'll have some presidential stuff for you, including I'm going to ask you if this U.S. president would have been a horrible bettor and an early NFL Super Bowl future. I think this team's number's too long.
It's a good job by the big guy. And your calls at VSiN Live. It's Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Now back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
The Stanley Cup Final is going on right now, Sirius XM. The Panthers and Oilers are facing off in Game 4, and you can listen to the Panthers feed on Sirius 211, XM 220, the Oilers feed on Sirius XM 167, and the national feed on NHL Network Radio Channel 91. You can also listen to all the action on the Sirius XM app. We got a game. Edmonton got a goal to make it 3-1, and now they're on the power play. The boys in the group chat are saying this has been a shift here as the Oilers are on the front foot. Let's get to the calls, and we'll get to Smash or Pass here coming up on VSiN Live. We'll say hi to Al in Charlotte. Hi, Al.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good, Al. What's up?
Hey, man. Just asking to take it easy on Skinner, man. The first goal was a 5-on-3 because of Edmonton being stupid, and then the second goal was also a power play. Also power play, Chuck lifted it over the leg. He was there. He had no chance because his D is suck ass. I mean, they're not good, and they're letting him down. And the third goal was the guys were standing there, and the Panther guy came down the middle, and he was by himself there. It's awful. So
yeah, I mean, I think Game 3 was really that's where Skinner struggled. I mean, he gave up 3 softies.
I don't know about that as much as, if you watch the plays, I mean, the coaches have to have some liability on this because the structure is just awful. And not to mention that I'm not trying to be sour grapes here being a Carolina fan, but, these refs are not calling it on both sides very fairly. That's all I got to say.
Let's see if we can get a goal here on a power play as Edmonton cycling the puck as we speak. The goal, the second goal to Kachuk, Skinner, he gave up the rebound, so I got to put that on him.
Yeah, I actually, but also having the 3 men on the ice and being in a penalty kill on the goal off the face-off, it's irrelevant. Like off the face-off, snapshot, boom, it got by him. I think that's on him. I do agree though.
Well, two-man advantage. Two-man advantage, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess he's right. We got it.
But it's off the face-off. It's not like it was like in the like normal gameplay. It was literally boom, boom in a moment. I don't know what having those defensemen on the ice there does really, unless they're somehow in the way of the shot. Just happened to be there. But I will agree, Knoblauch has not adjusted defensively. There's been no change in their plan, the way that they're trying to go at Florida when they're on the offensive end of things. If you know your goalie's struggling, you got to help him out with a different defense.
I will say adjustment to defense. Florida had 18 shots on goal in the first. They've got 18 shots on goal with a little over 10 to play in the second. So maybe they have made adjustments.
You know what I would say? Hey, Knoblauch, thanks, bro. We're still down 2. Too little, too late.
Oh, ye of little faith. All right, Adam, it's now time for Smash or Pass.
The heart wants what the heart wants. Wink. Will tonight be the night yours finds the perfect match? It's time for Smash or Pass.
Is that an old open or is that a new open?
No, that's a new open. It's newer. Since
good job by Dan, bro.
It's part of the Wrap Part 2, which is VSiN Live.
All right, it's a good job. It's time for Smash or Pass, big guy. Let's go.
Okay, so I was looking at the NFL Super Bowl odds over at DraftKings, and I was just curious where this team's number might be because I expected like 12-1 or 10-1, somewhere in that range. So Smash or Pass, basically, can I interest you in the Bengals to win the Super Bowl at 20-1?
Yes, you can. Joe Burrow was the MVP last year, and he didn't win it. He was the best player in football. It's really not that close.
Yeah,
does he have talent? Yes, he does. But here's the key. They've got to sign Hendrickson. Defense is just not even on the same planet when he's not on the field. And they have to stop being idiots with that rookie you told me about. The Bengals are so petty.
We should go over this real quick. The Shamar Stewart stuff is freaking wild. Adam, if we can get the Shamar Stewart clip ready, it is, I'll tell you the number. Shamar Stewart, number 5, is fascinating. I'll set it up, though. So Shamar Stewart, first-round pick out of Texas A&M by Cincinnati. and he has yet to agree to a deal with the Bengals. The Bengals are trying to change the usual language in the contract that voids a bunch of guarantees and deal with all this stuff with future years down the road in the deal with Stewart. And Stewart's saying, I just want the contract you gave to your first rounder, Amarius Mims, last year because I was drafted before him. Instead, the Bengals are being cheap. They want to change things around with the deal to make sure that they get the better end of things. And this was Shamar Stewart yesterday meeting with the media, discussing how the negotiations are going.
As in how far I'll take it? I mean, it just depends. Like, in my case, I'm 100% right. I'm not asking for nothing y'all never done before. But in y'all case, y'all just want to win an argument instead of winning more games, in my opinion.
When was he drafted?
First, I think 17 overall, I want to say.
What's his position?
He's an edge rusher. And look, at Texas A&M, they're drafting him based on talent more than production. The production wasn't quite there, but he is an elite talent at that spot.
It has nothing to do with it. The Bengals are in the wrong. It's essentially slotted what you're supposed to pay these guys. So it's not that hard. He knows what the player got paid last year. He knows what he's supposed to, the amount he can get paid this year. This is on the Bengals, who are constantly playing it by the cheap. And maybe it's because they signed T. Higgins and extended Jamar Chase, and now they're checking their Chase account and looking and struggling. I don't care. The kid, you drafted him in the first round, pay him the money. It's pretty simple.
Also, this is his first real job. This is how we're going to start our business, right? We're going to start our relationship as employee and employer on this note, where we believed in you enough to take you 17 overall, but we don't believe in you enough to give you everything you should get in that situation. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I agree with you. Pathetic. That's the Bengals, though. But yes, I do think they can win a Super Bowl, no doubt.
Okay,
Hendrickson's the key, though.
I agree. If they make a couple stops more than they made last year, they win the AFC, like realistically.
Yep.
Okay.
Next.
Smash or pass. And I'm curious if you know why I'm bringing this up. I think you might. Warren Harding would have been a horrible sports bettor.
Well, when you brought up, the funny part about that is when you brought up when I come back, I'm going to ask you about gambling. Listen, Warren Harding was an interesting cat. He's ranked near the bottom of every worst president's list. He was, again, heavy drinker, a fully stocked White House bar. I think he came. Oh, goodness. No, you know the irony? He died, and then Coolidge was his vice president.
Yikes.
Coolidge was a teetotaler. He was quiet. He didn't drink. But Harding was completely different. I already told you about Nan Britton, a woman that was 30 years his junior, and he had a love child. And he had a sudden and mysterious death. Pickard with a great save.
Great save.
On a breakaway. Great save. And he's had corruption, the Teapot Dome scandal, obviously. Harding was supposed to be a good guy. He was just kind of a donk. And he did some good things for race relations. So it's not like he was, he's described as terrible. Some people in modern day have thought he's better than what's been given credit. But here's the problem. You know what he liked to do? He liked to smoke cigars, drink whiskey, and gamble with his boys, in the White House. And not only did he like to gamble in the White House, there is a rumor that is pretty substantiated that he gambled away an entire set of White House china. My man was running out of cash and just gambling with the assets in the White House as the president. So do I think he would have been a good bettor? No, I don't. That's Warren Harding.
That is why I asked the question. Smash or pass? The Panthers still up 3. I don't know why my voice cracked. Panthers still up 3-1 in the second. 8 minutes to go. And I think it's worth bringing this up now. Panthers is an uninspiring name for the Florida hockey team. Smash or pass?
Horrific mascot or whatever they go name.
Horrible.
Like you could have done the Gators. You could have done so much more.
Iguanas, lizards, anything.
I'm fascinated when these teams they pay for all these PR and outside people to come in and tell them what they should do and how they can make money down the road, and they decided to go Panther.
I still stand by, you had the best idea when Vegas announced they were having a hockey team. You remember what your idea was?
My idea was you got to be the Vegas Flamingos, and you're hot pink and black. Who says no?
It's the basketball team better be the Flamingos then. It has to be the vibe. The colors are spot on. The history of the Flamingo being the first mob-run casino in town. It's everything. It is so right that they can't screw it up. They can't. That has to be the team name.
You think you could have done so much with like the hot pink like accents on a black like that. The sweater would have been ridiculous. Instead, they went Golden Knights because the owner was into the military, I believe.
Because he likes he likes Army football. Literally likes
I'm not
Army
banging.
football.
Obviously, I'm not in any way denigrating the military. It's protect our lives. I'm just saying, you're in Vegas. A marketing opportunity would have been sweet to keep it specific to Vegas. And we have a top shelfer from, I didn't see who it was from, but that's a freaking goal.
Oh, baby.
That was a great goal.
Oilers.
3-2. Edmonton is in this, boys.
We have a game in let's look at the market where it was plus 520 before. You could get plus 260 on the Oilers down by 1 and minus 360 with Florida. In-game totals now up to 8.5.
Holy crap. That might be the goal of the series. Nurse with an impossible angle goes over the shoulder of Bobrovsky top shelf.
I don't know how he snuck that thing over him there, but you're right. He had no angle, basically almost horizontal with the goal, and gets that thing up over him into the net, top shelf, 7:12 to go in the second. All of a sudden, we got a little juice. We're not dead yet with Edmonton.
No, we got a lot of juice, brother. Warren Hardy, that was a good one. He fascinates me endlessly because he was a good guy. He was just super horny and had some vices. Well, obviously horniness and then gambling and drinking. So that's our president.
Doesn't sound like anyone I know. Moving on. Let's go another president. Teddy Roosevelt would have been the best drinking buddy of all the U.S. presidents.
I mean, Roosevelt's such a figure and such a caricature that he just, out of all the presidents, outside of like George Washington, he almost feels like a cartoon character.
Yeah.
Like there's no way somebody with that vitality and that endless energy could have existed in real life. He was just such a absolutely phenomenal human, an interesting human, I should say. He was given a speech when he was running for the party he created, the Bull Moose Party. He got shot in the chest and finished his speech.
That's wild.
With a bullet lodged in his chest. He walked up to the podium and he said, "Yeah, I got a bullet in my chest, but I'm going to go ahead and finish this speech." That's crazy.
Sorry, I'm distracted. Edmonton's all of a sudden ultra aggressive, and they're in Florida's zone, and they're getting a ton of action towards the net. I don't know what Knobloch's dialed up here, but this looks like a totally different team.
Can we give Knobloch credit? We talked about the defense. He literally there's 6 minutes to go, and Florida has 3 shots on goal in the second period.
Yeah, he's done something different. It also helps, though, when you believe the guy back there can actually stop the shot. So that also helps the equation. But look, they got a shot, got the rebound, kicked it back out. They are relentless in the Florida zone. This is a totally different style of play.
And they're on a power play right now and almost just got one. So let's freaking go, big guy. We're going to come back to close tabs.
Oh, I didn't see they were on a power play. That makes sense.
We'll come back, close tabs, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
All right, home stretch, 4 minutes.
Was that not up there that they were on a power play? Because I didn't see it before.
It's up there.
It's scored. Up there now, but I don't think it was before. Closing tabs.
I know.
I like the question about Hardy.
Yeah, I'm into the presidential fact.
Time to wrap up today's show. You see what I did there? Yeah. By finishing all of the conversations we touched on today. This is Closing Tabs.
And we have a freaking game in Sunshine, or whatever they call it, Sunrise, Florida. It's 3-3, people. Florida jumped out to a 3-0 first period lead, and the Oilers, Knobloch's going to get an extension now because the adjustments during the first intermission are legit. They pulled the goalie Skinner and Picard, or whatever you want to call him. He had a great save on a breakaway, and the Edmonton Oilers have just tied it up. 3 unanswered from Florida, 3 unanswered from the Oilers, and you know what else we have? We have an epic series.
Thank God. It hurt. It hurt. Feeling like we weren't going to get the drama we thought we signed up for. This is an incredible run. I am blown away by Edmonton. They were left for dead. Left for dead.
Oh, we were getting off here in like 4 minutes. If you're not, I mean, I'm going straight to the couch and turning this game on because it is going to be 4:42 still in the second with a whole period to go. Give me more.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's just going to be 2 million other people doing the same thing as us tonight in America.
Harding would be in-game betting this for sure. Warren.
He'd be losing his balls on Florida right now.
And if Andrew Jackson lost a bet, he'd murder someone.
Well, that's the problem. Then he always wins. That's why he always wins.
Closing tabs. What do we got to get done with here?
You mentioned J.J. Spawn. No relation to Warren Spawn. I did look it up in case you were wondering.
I could put the pieces together there.
Oakmont Country Club. We were discussing where it is. It's in Plum, Pennsylvania. It's where the U.S. Open is. Established 122 years ago in the East Hill suburbs of Pittsburgh. You also
I'm gonna get on Zillow and see what kind of crib I can get in Plum.
Probably one with a gate, I would assume.
No, because if you think like the Masters, Augusta, it's the most beautiful course on the planet. Augusta ain't that.
That's true. That's true. But I don't know if Pennsylvania and Augusta are quite the same with the history.
That's
no offense.
Fair enough.
No offense.
Fair enough.
No, it's a great state. I love it. You quoted one Adam Shine quoting a song lyric for Josh Applebaum, Apple Bottom Jeans, Boots with the Fur. That would be Steve Torre's favorite rapper, Flo Rida.
Yeah. Steve Torre ending his show with that song, and then his tag is "Be Well, Be Safe." I have a hard time wrapping my brain around it every time I hear it, and I've heard it for a long time.
I don't know if I'm properly using this word, but it feels like a meta thing. Feels like there's a lot going on that you got to cross and dot.
Is that what he says? Be well, be safe?
Something like that.
With Flo Rida in the background. Yes, please, give me more.
On this day in 1776, the Constitutional Convention of the Colony of Virginia adopted the Virginia Declaration of Rights, which is a model of the Bill of Rights, later added to the U.S. Constitution.
Virginia was a bunch of front runners. Virginia basically thought they were the country and everybody else were bitches. 3, 2, 3. Let's go.
Let's go.
Edmonton, Florida. Great. Adam, thank you. Ryan, thank you. We'll talk to you tomorrow. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio.